All right, peace and black power, everybody. I want to welcome you to another NCRBGZ Productions. With that, I want to say peace to the family. Look, man, I want to thank y'all for taking the time out for one to even watch the playback or even watch it live. We appreciate y'all. We got a good conversation going on today. We're gonna have a roundtable discussion, but we're gonna talk a little bit about the coronavirus. Is it man-made? Did the government make it? Is it natural? We're gonna discuss it. And with that being said, we want to give everybody opportunity to introduce themselves to the family. And with that being said, I'm gonna pass the mic.
Organization called the Black Alliance of Peace, where we, just try to liberate, African colonized people here in the land. And I'll pass it on to Nick.
Oh, shit. All right. Peace, everyone. Keep it short and simple. Brother Runaway. I'm here for the conversation, to learn from everybody. I'm B1. I mean Black first. I'm just ready to listen and learn. Peace.
Peace, everybody. This is Master U. Obviously, if you know anything about the Nation of Gods and Earth, you can probably tell from my name, Master U, that I'm a member of the 5% Nation. And just like everybody, just build and grow with each other. So look forward to a great conversation. And I pass the mic to Julie.
Hi, as it's been said, I'm Julie. I'm from the West Midlands in the UK. I've been friends with Stuart for a while now. Yeah, blessings everyone. Mr. Nabat, are you there?
Mr. Who?
Is it Nabat Kafar? Have you introduced yourself?
Hey, Brother Marquis, you gonna mute yourself? We can't hear you, bro.
Oh, my bad. All right, you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you loud and good now.
I'm Marquis Riddick, from Elizabeth City, North Carolina. I'm a community activist. Yeah, so you want to call them all for the people, all for the youth. I'm a father first more than anything. So if I be a father first, I could be active for the rest of the youth. So yeah, that's about it. Well, I pass it on to a Stuart.
All right, that's good, brother.
Yeah,
We thank everybody for introducing themselves, and we ain't gonna hold y'all. We're gonna jump right in it. So, my first question I want to throw out to the panel, is kind of like something that we talked about last roundtable discussion, but more things have came out since then. It seems as if the projected death total amount for this coronavirus is not as high as initially they had projected. It seems as if the totals are not as high. So some of the states are actually in the process of getting prepared to open up. Some of them are slowly opening up. And with that being said, in the Black community, it's a lot of people up in arms that's saying that, we don't think it's a good thing, that the state should be reopened, saying that they may be trying to possibly open it up and use us as the guinea pigs to see if, are we gonna be the ones to get sick. So I just want to throw that out there to the panel. So, everybody can jump in and discuss it, and say what's their take on it. Do you think the state should stay open up, or do you think the state should stay closed? What do y'all think?
It's Marquis. I guess I go first, bro. To me, it doesn't matter. And the reason why I say this is because of as far as how the virus even spreading, it's like it's gonna go where it's gonna go regardless of where it's gonna go. And it's like people that try so hard to duck it are the ones still trying to get it. So it's gonna be everybody trying to duck it pretty much. So it's almost like, are the numbers they're giving, are they true facts or they're not true facts? And the way they saying things is about it's in the air, it's getting on your clothes, your hair, your beard, your clothes, your feet, and all that, etc. And that's how can you duck it? And now they're saying I do heat in the air, so I know a lot when it comes to the heat in that system. And I feel projectly that it's coming from the AC units when it's far circulation. Is my personal opinion. I really feel that way. So it's like, well, so it's like how people getting this virus, they ain't been nowhere. So once again, I think it's coming through ventilation wise, because it can happen through ventilation, because we are constantly breathing in recycled air. So I feel that, like I said, it doesn't matter. Is that we got to just to continue to help build the immune system best way you can. As far as opening up, I think something got to happen, because like people are really got to find a way to bring some money to the table, man. Because people don't have no means of feeding their family no more, and by them not having no means of feeding their family, you got the some of the youth or whatever, they out here breaking the internet like the Most High products right now. So that's gonna get worse as time if the lockdown still go on, but so long. So I feel like it got to be open to a certain extent, but a little bit of stipulations to it. Ah, it's just tight, man. And I don't believe the numbers that they saying are truly true. I don't believe that. I'm trying to figure. There's no way they can predict what they predicting. I don't see how possible that is. I mean, how they know something's gonna be, a second wave gonna come and all this. So how would they know that unless they know something about this virus that we just don't know? So they kind of know that this has been premeditated. So either way, I feel you got to live your life, man. You know what I'm saying? You can't be stuck in the place that's gonna hinder you from being who you want to be because of something that's been created. I understand they say, well, you know, who you believe in. I get that, but you still got to use intellect, what you got going on. So I feel that, like I said, once again, it doesn't matter to me. You just gotta be still take cautious, but still live your life. That's me. That's all I got for it.
This day Don. Can I tap in?
Yep.
Yeah. Before I say anything, I just want to say that I respect everybody's opinion on the call and everything like that. But I think as far as coronavirus and the states trying to open back up, I think especially as Black people, we have to look at it as what it is, and it's an attack on Black and brown and other oppressed people. Because what's happening is with this whole conversation about opening places back up and opening things back up is only putting working class people that have families to take care of, people that have no other option but to go out and to work at risk. Because the elites, the ones that are controlled over corporations, the ones that are controlled over industries, are not the ones that are putting their lives on the line to go and make a dollar. So what's happening is now the capitalist system that was born rotten, that was born, off the backs of enslaved Africans and off the genocide of indigenous people in this land, they're capitalizing now off of a virus that is destroying people by the millions. Because the statistics that they put out is very real. These are numbers that they account from people that are actually dying from this illness. And what is happening is there have been more people in the last couple of months to die from the coronavirus than people that died in the whole Vietnam War. And that's a fact. And so we have to look at these things as a dangerous situation, because the people that are really succumbing from the virus is Black and brown people that have been already environmentally, socially, and in all type of ways oppressed by a system. Because if we look at Milwaukee, if we look at the numbers in Milwaukee, Black people only make up 20-something% of the state of Milwaukee. but make up the majority of deaths that have happened in from the virus. And the same thing has happened in other places as well, like Detroit. They have similar numbers. And even in North Carolina, Wayne County is the leading places of coronavirus, and a lot of the cases are coming from Noose Correctional, the prison. So the people that are really are at risk and are most likely to die from the virus is Black and brown working class people who already have underlying health conditions because of how, this system does not give us anything, but trash. You see what I'm saying? So when it comes to the question of opening the economy back up, the only people that will benefit from opening the economy back up is the rich, is the elite, is the wealthy, the ones that own the corporation, the ones that own the industries, the ones that own the jobs that people have no other choice or no other option to go to. You see what I'm saying? So as I think as Black people right now, we have to understand that right now is a critical moment in the United States history, because what it's doing is this virus has exposed all the contradictions that they have told us for so long that the United States could not do. Now they are doing it in a matter of weeks. You see what I'm saying? They said that they didn't have enough money to give people. Now all of a sudden they have money to send out stimulus checks all across the country. You see what I'm saying? Now they're talking about a healthcare system that is now beneficial to poor working class people. So now we know that this system is rotten. I think it's imperative that we don't give in to the line of the capitalists that say go out there and work and build back up my economy, because we never really benefited from the economy. You see what I'm saying? We always been struggling. We always been scratching to survive. When my brother said that we thugging it out, it's like we been thugging it out. So now is a time that we thug it out in a way that is detrimental to the system that has been destroying us ever since our contact with them.
It's Marky. I can agree with that. That's it. I was going to agree with you, brother. That's all.
All right.
I'm sorry, I should have said over. That was it for me. I'm sorry.
Okay. The next person, y'all can pop in whenever y'all want to, man. After the next person stop, I'm putting a timer on, so at 5 minutes, if you get to 5 minutes, I'm gonna put it up there if you're still talking. So come on, anybody else? I'm gonna save mine for last.
You heard me?
Yo. You hear me? Stuart. Oh, I heard.
You good, bro? You good? I just got my mute. I mute my mic now.
Ain't gonna give me 5 minutes, man. All I'm gonna say is, just be careful. It's serious. People dying from it. This coronavirus, whatever. And I ain't gonna hold y'all up. I'm just listening more. I ain't gonna try to debate nobody. I think it's serious, but we just need to 6 feet listening. Open up, be good for business, of course. You know what I mean? But is it too early? It's hard to answer that, bro. You know what I mean? I think when it warm up, it'll get better. It'll kill the virus. But as far as business prospect, as far as business and everything, yeah. Open them up. Open them last week, right? Who gives a damn about last, right? But I think we got to take this seriously, man. We can't go out there to the beach and, shuck and jive, you know what I mean? So we all got to take precautions, wash our hands all the time. Even before coronavirus came up, we got to do what we got to do. I'm done.
Hi.
I'm sorry.
Hi. I don't think this virus is a virus, because viruses can't last outside of the body for too long. So I believe they're lying to us. There's something in the air, but it's not a virus. And a virus can't be cured. Oh, well, they said there's no cure. But I know enough people that here, in where I am here, that you take some herbs, drink some herbal teas, and you're fine. A virus can't be healed by herbs, so it's not a virus. I know I might sound crazy. No, I don't think it's a virus. It's something that's wrong with the air. There's something that they've done. I don't know what it is, but it's definitely not a virus. No.
Excuse me,
Hey,
ma'am. I got a quick question. By you saying that you don't think it's a virus, I have a few cousins and we've been keeping up for the past 3 years, 4 years, so about them as far as with the chemtrails where they spraying in the sky,
Yeah.
and been keeping on that for a good little while, and kind of keep track when they're gonna do it. We could base the time tell when they spray it's gonna rain tomorrow. So we could tell when it's gonna about to rain according to how they spraying. Um, I feel that even though the chemtrails got to do with little piece, small particles of metal, case maybe whatever else is in it, but I think they got a lot to do with this virus also. Even though they've been spraying for the past 40 years, maybe longer, but for the past 5, 10 years, I guess it's been more profound, and some people are more taking notice of what's going on with them while they're spraying. Um, it's I gotta say this. Um, all this stuff is coincide with each other. Even down for them, even though they spread and it has spread its cloud in the sky up. A lot of us black people, we get our energy from the sun. You know, and and I feel like they doing it to also to block the sun for us to get our energy. That's why in the summertime we act a little differently than we do in the wintertime for the summer. So it's like all this stuff is going on right before the spring or the summer is actually hitting because, like I said, heat kills it or supposedly supposed to dumb it down, the case may be. But I really feel that what they're doing along with that spraying going inside our food products, because still going in our food and our food growing with these particles on it and being produced to the plants and also we're consuming it. So I definitely agree with you on that aspect too. I'm not here to disagree with nobody. I'm taking in notes and putting all those said take the bones and spit out. I mean, either spit out the bones, whatever the case would be, and coincide with it. Cause all this now what we're saying, we could always be correct on everything that we're talking about. So it's always about how can we find a way and get a message across for people to look more depth instead of worrying about partying all the daggone time. Really get back to the streets and hit the parties and all that stuff. It's okay to have fun, but these people are killing us and they know what the hell they're doing. And I feel that I understand about this Bill. I have a couple of documentaries on Bill Gates and etc. A little YouTube stuff, but that dude is dangerous. I'm trying to figure out how can a man that have no medical experience or medical background able to come up with vaccines as he was a doctor. So it's a lot of things that's going on that doesn't make sense. And like you just saying about the virus, yes, I agree with you about that. You don't think it is, and the reason why virus said about it for a certain amount of time, whatever, I agree with that also. But we always gonna go by what we know to a certain extent, even though we got our own idea of scenario, what if it's real or not, what is it, what isn't, what ain't in it, because we really don't know. But we know that it's knocking us down. And we gotta find a way. How can we find a way to reverse that? They already know we're not gonna sit down because we don't know how to act. So they know they can't get on that aspect. Okay, so like go open it and we get them that way. So it's like we gotta think a little smarter what's going on. And I agree with everybody. I ain't heard everybody's thoughts yet, but I'm agree with you regardless because what we're talking about is always gonna be a powerful message. All right, I'm done.
hey, can I respond if nobody else wants to go? I spoke once, so if somebody else wants to go, I won't say anything. But if nobody else has a response, I would like to kind of say something.
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I want to go back to the coronavirus because it's a really serious situation, like serious. And when the sister, I agree, a virus can't live outside of the body too long. It needs a host, but it's an airborne pathogen. It's a pathogen. It's airborne, and it's when we come in contact with it and get it in our system, then they determine whether it's a virus or if it's a bacteria. So that's how we come to understand that it's a virus. But initially, it's an airborne pathogen, just like the flu. You see what I'm saying? It's an organism, and it's spread through people sneezing, people coughing, and that's why it's able to stay on some surface areas for an amount of time, not for like a very long time. I think they say 7 days. I don't know exactly how long it can stay on the surface area, but that's how you contact the virus. It's spread through. That's why when people say it's not just floating around in the air, like as soon as you go outside, it's just floating in the atmosphere. It's not that type of thing. It's an airborne pathogen. When people cough on you, people sneeze on you, somebody that might have it that's a little bit too close to you, and when they talk, you know, they might spit on you or something like that, and that's how you contact the virus. And the virus started in a place called Wuhan. I think I said it right, in China. And originally, the virus was a virus that only animals contracted. But what happened was things, you know, everything goes through a period of evolution. And what happened was the pathogen evolved into a new pathogen that now humans can contract it. And so that is the situation. It evolved from something that only animals can get to something that now people can get. And because it's new to our immune system, because it's new to our bodies, we don't automatically have the things in us prepared to fight off the virus. So that's why it's so dangerous right now, because we don't even have the proper things in place to even in our bodies to fight the body, but I mean to fight the virus. But on top of that, what's even more sinister about it and about this country is this country knew 3 months in advance before the virus even got to this point that potentially how dangerous it could be, because places like China and Cuba gave out a response and said, hey, this can be bad, because we seen what it did to places like Italy. And but the U.S., because they are unwilling to collaborate with anybody that they feel is inferior to them, denied any response to the virus. And what happened was, we, black people, brown people, and poor people, are a result of this neglect. And at the same time, when that happened, the Trump administration, instead of funding a huge amount of money to healthcare services and things like that, bailed out corporations. He bailed out businesses and things like this. And I'm not talking small business. I'm talking about huge corporations, J.P. Morgan and people like that. He bailed out corporations. So it's always a matter of what's good for the capitalists versus what's good for the benefit of the people. You see what I'm saying? And that is the thing I think that we always have to expose when we talk about the coronavirus, is how this country is always unwilling to do anything to protect black and brown people, irregardless of what's going on, no matter how successful you can be. You see what I'm saying? Because, again, you know, they knew this thing was coming, but they still put us in risk. What happened, again, I think we should very note when we talk about this virus and how the U.S. allows black people to die by any means necessary, is that China came out with a test. They have a series of 2 tests. One test is to check people that are, all right, I see the time, bro. One test is to check the people that already have the coronavirus, and the other test is to test people that are asymptomatic, which means that you are not yet showing any symptoms of the coronavirus. The test was only like 90-something cents a piece, and the U.S. denied any kind of test from Chinese people that can potentially tell if you got it way before you even know you have it. And they denied medicine that's coming out of Cuba, because Cuba has the best medical team in the world, and they denied that also. So again, we always have to blame the system for what is happening to our people. I understand that, you know, there's a lot of things that come into play with that, but the system is always at the forefront of anything that comes at attacking black and brown people.
Okay, this is Master You. A couple of notes. Again, first of all, I respect everybody's opinion and point of view, and we're all, again, here to build upon each other. And with that being said, I'm no conspiracy theorist, and I know there's so many conspiracies behind it, like, you know, them trying to kill black people is 5G. I mean, listen to conspiracy theories all day long. It'll pretty much be hard to wrap your head around it. But all I can say is this: what this here teaches me, what should teach any black person in general, is to always be aware. And for black people, you know, dealing with the 5%, we talk about 85% of people who don't, just dumb, deaf, and blind. All we do is go off of what somebody else tells us without becoming aware of something ourselves. We don't do the due diligence to go study. Not take what somebody else said, not what the media said, but what do I need to go do for myself? For example, if they say that in a black and brown areas is devastating us more, look at how we eat. We eat pork chop, we eat fried chicken. So, you know, a lot of times we're overweight, so we're susceptible to diabetes, high blood pressure, et cetera, et cetera. So if the diet is if the virus is targeting that, then that should tell us to be aware of, to do better. So no matter what's going on, us as black people, or just people in general, always be aware of what's going on in your surroundings. Because if you are not aware, it becomes easy for me to attack you, easy for me to throw a dollar in your face. And as soon as I do, you walk around with bright, shiny eyes. And for us as Black people, therein lies our problem. It don't matter if it's a virus. It don't matter if cops out here killing you. None of this stuff to us should be new. History has showed us that over time, over time. And so the biggest thing for me is to just be and I would just say this for anyone, always be aware of what's going on around you. And no matter what's going on, you do whatever you can to maintain your square. And what I mean by that, by maintaining your square, is that no matter what comes at you, you have enough defenses to kick it off. And if you ain't got enough, you have a community of people that can help hold you up so y'all can fight this stuff off long enough so you can find a cure. So, I don't blame no government. I don't blame nobody. I put the responsibility on me. What am I going to do during this particular point of time? Am I going to make my business better? Am I going to make my community stronger? Am I going to get healthier? And so I put the onus on me. I no longer depend on no government to take, no, you never took care of me. It's been me. If anything, you took. Get what I'm saying? So why do I care if you give me a stimulus check or not? And I get people need it. It's not what I'm saying. But again, it goes back to you being aware of what's going on around in your community, in your environment. Make sense what I'm saying? And that's my piece on that.
All right, well, let me jump in here. Peace, brother. I'm gonna piggyback off everybody. And again, we're not here to debate or fuss with each other. We're just trying to have conversations, and everybody have different points of view on the subject matter. So I'm gonna throw this out there. The same people that told us to put on a mask and do the 6 feet social distancing was the media. So if we listen to them when they tell us that the virus is bad and we need to protect ourselves, if now they want to open up the states, I don't see why, if you listen to them when they tell you the social distance and put a mask on, and now they want to open up the states, I don't see why you don't want to listen to them now. That's just one thing I say, because to me, I research stuff. So when it comes to this coronavirus, the coronavirus is the offshoot of the SARS. The SARS virus is 95% the same as the coronavirus. It's a 5% difference. But something ain't nobody touched on is that the government has been experimenting with viruses. And it's some information out on this virus about how the government on what's the base in Virginia, they got a base that's strictly for bioweapons. And the government has been, because the way the doctors are saying is that this virus ain't a normal virus like the type of virus that they have been taught in school. This virus don't act the same as if it has the coronavirus strain. It's a strain of corona. This is COVID-2. They had the first coronavirus. This is the second strand of the COVID virus. But with the COVID virus, the solutions, we have to be solution-based. Government has never done anything, in my eyes, for Black folks at the end of the day. So we know that they're not going to look out for our best interests. But my only problem with that is if you listen to them in the first place, when they came out with the idea of the coronavirus, whether it was 3 months late or right on time, they came out telling us about the coronavirus. They shut the country down. We all listened. The government is saying, okay, well, the numbers weren't as high as we thought it was. The death rate ain't as high as we thought it was, because when I looked into this in 2019, the CDC, which we really can't attest to being accurate, but they predicted that we was going to have a terrible flu season. And if you look at the flu, I'm trying to get in here. Hold on. When you look into the flu season, like we had 16,000 deaths of the flu and pneumonia. So what has happened in the pneumonia? There's also reports coming out that they are now saying the deaths, they are counting deaths for coronavirus, that let's say you got a diagnosed condition, you know what I'm saying? And you come in contact with the coronavirus. Well, if they saying if you die, it don't matter if or the condition you had before you came in contact with the coronavirus, they are automatically saying that this is a death caused by the coronavirus. So you have a lot of stuff that's going on with the coronavirus. What I do know is personally, I do believe that what they have in New York is different than what we have down here. That's just me, that's my personal opinion, because I have saw documents how the government have experienced. This is documented. They done it in the 80s. So you have proof of this being done before. You have in St. Louis proof of them dropping the chemical over a certain area, been doing some wicked stuff to our people in the name of viruses. Yeah. But we know that. So with that being said, so it's like, okay, we know the government you can't trust them one way or the other. Either you're gonna take everything they say and believe it, or you not. You get what I'm saying? So like that's my whole thing with this. They told us to come in to wear masks, they told us to wash our hands and social distance, and people listen to them. So now, if 3 months later they saying, you know what? All right, it's time to open the country back up. Why you don't want to listen to them? So it's like that's my whole thing. The way I'm looking at it, like on me personally, I think they need to open the country up. Me personal stuff up doesn't mean that we have to stop trying to protect us. You're supposed to wash your hands anyway. If you're gonna eat healthy, you need to eat healthy anyway. You know, if you want to boost your immune system, you should have been boosting your immune system anyway. This ain't something that we should have just started that they have to tell us. Then you have the fact of, you know, America's ran off money, not working. How are we gonna how are people gonna get money? Do you think the government just gonna keep printing money? Because America, the dollar ain't worth too much. I don't want to get somewhere else. But if they just keep printing money and giving people money, like at a certain period, you got inflation that happens with money. So like if you we're gonna depend on the same wicked people that have been destroying us our entire lives that we've been here. Now we're gonna put all our faith in them to survive. We're gonna wait for them to give us food stamps. We're gonna wait for them to give us stimulus checks. You know, I just want to throw that out there, like, because this is where I look at the whole situation when I calculate it. So with that, I'm gonna unmute my mic so somebody else can.
Does anyone see this as part of a bigger plan?
Yeah, this is Dogon. I think it's definitely a part of a bigger plan now with the way that events are happening again. Oh shit. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we hear you loud and clear, bro. We hear you loud and clear.
Oh, okay, yeah. I don't know what happened on the screen went blank. But yeah, so yeah, they're definitely trying to capitalize off this virus and off the death of oppressed people. But I think a couple of things that should be noted, that the people that told people to wear masks and gloves was the CDC. That's doctors. Those are people who have been trained and know somewhat, because they don't know what they're dealing with, but they know and have an idea somewhat of what's going on. And they got that information from the people in China that, you know, have been doing that thing, have been wearing masks and gloves for a very long time, and, you know, still had come in contact with the coronavirus. So it's not necessarily, you know, the government telling people to wear masks and gloves. These are doctors doctors telling people to wear the mask and glove. And I think another point that is important to point out is the only people that want to open the government back out is these fascist, right-wing Donald Trump supporters. Is poor white folks who automatically, no matter how poor they are, align themselves with the white power structure. Those are the people that are demanding that you know, the country be opened back up, because there's always this sense of, we want to save the economy. We want to save the economy. We want to save our businesses. We want to save our corporations. We don't care about people dying. And you actually have Congress people who have said that on TV. They say if a couple people have to die for us to save the economy, then so be it. So these are the people that we are dealing with when it comes to this coronavirus. So I do think that it's a larger scheme into it. I do think that this is their way of a continual process of murder with Black and brown people. I mean, you know, some of the highest death rates are coming out of prisons, not even nursing homes. It's coming out of prisons where people are just stacked on top of each other and really cannot practice social distancing. I think when Brother Stewart was saying about New York, I think that's why it was so rampant in New York versus very places like North Carolina and more rural southern places, because we don't have to be crammed on top of each other all the time. When you go in New York, it's always crammed. The sidewalks is crammed, transportation is crammed up. 9 times out of 10, you're living on top of people. You see what I'm saying? So they live in an environment where they really don't have the same space that we have down here in North Carolina. So I think those points is when we discuss this virus and how detrimental it is to the people, I think it's kind of important to note those things, that, you know, it's the right wing that wants to open the country because they want to save and protect their venture capitalists. You see what I'm saying? They don't care about how many people die from it. They don't care about hospitals not having enough space in it. They don't care about ventilators. There was a report that came out that they found ventilators in a attic in a hospital, in like, not an attic, a basement, I'm sorry, in I want to say upstate New York or something like that. So they don't care about how many casualties there'll be from this plague that's going through. They just care about maintaining the status quo of supremacy, and that's their money, their wealth, and their power to determine whatever goes on in today's society. And that's all I got.
A lot was said there. I said before, I don't believe it's a virus, simply because when I first heard about it, and they talked about the symptoms, how it affects you. My daughter has asthma, and they said it affects the lungs. Yeah, my daughter has asthma, and she's had it for a while. And I'm always trying to talk to her about her health, and we try and find alternative methods, or to look after herself. So straight away, I started sorting out as though we were coming down with asthma. Treatment for asthma works. What they're doing in the hospital kills people. I've seen it. I would never send my daughter to the hospital right now. She has asthma attacks quite often. She can't, I'm not sending her, because you'll hear that she's died of corona. And the way they're treating people in hospital with lung problems, that kills. Ventilators do not work. They kill. That's a slow, I don't know what, deprivation of air. I do not believe the government is trying to save anyone. I believe it's a big agenda to depopulate people. And sadly, well, fortunately, or however you want to see, Black people are the majority on the planet. So it's going to look like they're killing us off, but we are the majority. So to make it an even playing field for the world, a lot of Black people have got today. I don't think it's racist. It's just their agenda, the system. However you want to see that, I think it's just the agenda part of the system. Because we are the majority, we have to be killed off more to make it more even, if I'm making sense.
I want to say this, in America, right recently they have made the Black Americans the face of this virus, but I'm not for sure that Black Americans or African Americans, I'm not sure that we have the highest amount of deaths total of this virus. I think 12% of the population, but I actually been trying to research to see the amount. I can't find them numbers. So, and that's something I think that's a ploy too. Now, mind you, in some states it is, Black folks are dying at a higher clip. Depending on what state you go to, the rates are different. So, but that's to me, because at first, it was Seattle. So, and how many of them was Black initially? It's like things have changed. The narrative have changed that the media is also portraying. Because they don't talk about, like, well, in Bertie County, where we at, all the deaths, that's where it's at. In Hereford County, there haven't been one Black person that I know of that have died of coronavirus. We have deaths, but it ain't been no Black people in the two counties that I'm speaking of. But the narrative is that I know in New York, because I do got a family member that have passed in New York. For sure if it was the coronavirus or the ventilator, because you have doctors in New York saying that they're treating the wrong thing. They're putting these people on the ventilator machine, and the ventilator machine is doing more harm than help. You have that. So it's a lot going on. Like Master You says, you don't know if it's conspiracy theory or not, but people are dying. But I think we all in agreement here that we need to protect ourselves, and we can't trust this government, no matter what way you look at it. I think we all in agreement that the government, most like everybody else, feel like the government ain't in our best interest. So we need to, like, whatever they say, we need to kind of like look at it side eye and just don't take it for face value. Anybody else want to say something on this?
It's Mark again. Yeah, I agree with you again. When it comes to the numbers part of people dying, I can't think of right now, but it's called a time lapse, something like that, where every minute, what piece of grain is going through the system, it counts it. What people dying a year, and abortions throughout the year, whatever. Like right now, for instance, I can't think of what I'm looking for the name of it, but I've seen it 2 months ago. At least 8 million abortions have happened. You know what I'm saying? Abortions, for 8 million abortions already. So other words, this time thing I'm talking about, it keep account how many people being born a year or a day or by a minute, and how many people is dying by the minute. And they always kept this up whenever they were able to create this time thing. I can't think of the name of it, man. When I find out, I'll let you know, Stuart. But so people die, thousands of people die every day, regardless of the fact. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they're throwing this virus onto everything, or every person that's dying that have a bad health, or not I can say a car accident, but more things that deal with health issues. People die regardless of the fact, and they're throwing this virus thing as their main topic of everything. You hear nothing about the trafficking no more. You hear no people about dying of cancer no more, because like the virus actually took over every single thing that actually exists. And I can't see everybody's. It'd be hard to wrap my mind around that, because people died. Millions of people died. Like I said, a day period, man, for different occasions. So I would never, ever, ever raise my mind saying that everybody in this world is dying right now is dying from that virus. I would never say that. I can't agree to it. But I'm not saying people's not dying. When I'm saying they can't die from the virus, but for as many people, no, I can't see that. Can't nobody persuade me to even believe that. But I would still say, just in case, you know what I'm saying? Just in case. You don't know. Just prepare yourself for what's going on. That's all I can say.
I feel you.
So, and it's I still feel that it's like people in Africa, they can't go nowhere. They ain't never seen a plane in life is catching this stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? So it's I say it's airborne, of course, occasionally. But when it comes to like myself, people can't go in and out of the prisons. They're federal or maximum prisons. And I really feel that it's been stuck through ventilation, because it's recycled air. It's recycled, brother. I really feel that way, man. People in these restaurants that they like I said, Purdue plant down in North Carolina recently, Purdue plant, it's trapped in the buildings. It's pretty much recycled air, brother. I mean, I would advise y'all, just in case, get some tightly knitted filters. Those real tightly knitted, and keep spraying Lysol, case maybe, and water, and soak it down. So when it return air, whatever it's pulling, it'll pull and it collects whatever's gonna collect. You know what I'm saying? And then throw it in the trash and put another one down. So because when it comes to filters, it collects urine. When you go to the bathroom, it pulls urine from like your stool, it goes to your return air. It pulls the stuff out, so whatever's gonna pull is gonna collect. So that whatever it collects, if it collects urine, it can collect virus or what's going on your return air and coming out your vents and recycling. See what I'm saying? So that's my scenario on that note, to help to protect yourself from your household, from your family. Okay, you know, you come home from work. You know, I mean, people say when they get home to take their clothes off. But do you think about when you left out that building and you got inside your car? Did you spray your car down before you got walked outside, before you got your car come to your house? No. So you gotta keep in mind, you can't be too cautious. It's gonna drive you crazy. You know what I'm saying? You be too cautious, it causes stress. The stress bring other entities in it. Then you catch heart failure or other case of being for being stressed over some bullshit that the media done started. So as I say, take precautions, but live your income. I don't think we've been here to be putting a strain over some people that we so-called say. I'll say this: the people that's here, as far as the government wise, they can't be, brother. Can't see it.
So they can't do what, bro?
I can't see them being from the world and want to
from the
destroy
world?
the world. Yeah, and destroy the world. But it can't be. Huh?
I do. I
Okay.
believe they can destroy the world.
Say it again.
I believe that the white folks want to destroy the world. It's in their nature.
Oh yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I want them. What I'm saying is, I know I can't see them being from the world and not wanting to destroy the world. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying is, they're here to destroy it.
Okay.
They want to destroy it. And I also feel that a lot of women, or case of B, we are on the rise to having our own stuff and having our own. They're not gonna let that happen, but so easy. So that
brother Nabat he just sent a message saying he just got in. Brother, if you unmute your mic, you can message. I don't know. If you want to unmute your mic, there you go, brother. You unmute. You can jump in.
I don't know if can I be heard.
Oh yeah, we can.
Yeah, it's good to appreciate the invite. Good to hear from a couple of you brothers. I'm not sure exactly what the discussion is about. I know we was talking about the coronavirus. But yeah, what's the build about?
One thing I post to everyone is about the coronavirus. What do you think about it? And do you think it's safe for the states to open up, or should the states stay shut down? Now, what's your thoughts on that? That's what we discussed.
Well, I'll tell you this. Okay, am I getting my input now, or I don't want to interrupt?
You got the flow, bro. You got the flow.
I think that what we need to continue to do is remain in contact with natural nature, remain in tune with natural nature. And what that means is it's not hiding from natural nature in any form or fashion, because we've been on this planet for millions of years. We've been exposed to all of the planet. You see what I'm saying? We've been exposed to viruses. We've been exposed to so much on this planet that this coronavirus is not something that we should be hiding from, or trying to avoid, because that's unnatural. The natural way is to strengthen your immune system by getting back in tune with nature by way of the right diet, right? The foods that you eat that strengthen your blood, that strengthen your antibodies, so that when in the event that you do come in contact with the coronavirus, your body is easily able to fight it off, as well as code the specific strain of that particular virus, so that the next time it comes around, your body also has the antibodies built up, prepared to fight off this virus the next time. So what I think that the the flaw that our people have is following an unnatural mindset of people who have an unnatural approach to protecting themselves from nature. One way we know is through the vaccines, right? But we already know that vaccines tend to be harmful to us, more harmful to people of African descent, indigenous descent, than to Caucasians or to other races, because these specific vaccines are designed and experimented on in labs to have a specific affinity to Caucasian, European, Asian, Indian DNA, and not to African DNA. So what am I saying? Nothing that works for them will ever work for us. Face masks, gloves, right? All of these things is not the mold by which we should be trying to protect ourselves from this virus. And with that being said, no, the state should not be shut down. No, we should not be barricading ourselves inside of our houses. You see what I'm saying? We shouldn't be doing none of these things, because that's going against natural nature. Natural nature is saying this: either you're going to get in tune with me, or you're going to get out of the way. Whether you think you can wear a face mask, whether you think you can wear gloves, and you think that's going to protect you, it's not. Natural nature will evolve this virus, and we have pretty much been seeing it happen, will evolve this virus to the point where you won't be able to protect it. The filter inside the mask won't be adequate enough to even fight off this virus. If natural nature decided that it wanted to develop this virus in that way. You see what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is that we should give them back their flawed way of thinking, get in tune with nature by changing the diet, stop eating poisonous food that compromise your immune system, right? And you won't have to wear face masks. You know what I'm saying? Strengthen your immune system, so when you come in contact with any virus, the cold, the flu, or anything, it kills it off. Dr. Sebi told us that the foundation of all disease is mucus. So if we're talking about this particular virus, the coronavirus, which they say is called SARS, which they say is severe acute respiratory syndrome. So basically, it's mucus buildup in the lung, right? And also there's issues with the muscles, right, of the lungs itself, which inhibits it from expanding in a natural manner to get enough oxygen to breathe. So not only is it mucus, but it's the muscles in your lungs that become compromised. This is what this particular virus causes, right? But what they do is they have our people put on face masks, which doesn't do anything but constrict the breathing even further. So I don't want to go on long, being long with it, but I want our people to really think about what we're doing. When you constrict the breathing with face masks or whatever other face coverings, cloth, towel, whatever, when you constrict the breathing, you prohibit the blood from producing the adequate enough amount of white blood cells by way of the oxygen that you breathe in, right, to produce enough antibody white blood cells to fight off viruses. So by wearing face masks, you're literally compromising your immune system by inhibiting oxygen flow. You see what I'm saying? And we know, especially we as Nagado, we're supposed to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. They breathe in through the mouth and out through the mouth, which also you know, and it basically breeds environment for more bacteria and disease. So I'm saying all of this to say that basically we have to give them back everything. We have to learn our original way of life, our original culture, and how we responded to viruses, how we responded to, you know, to these types of things. And Dr. Sabi gave us the key. Dr. Malachi New York gave us the key. Many of our, Dr. Laila Africa, they gave us the keys to how to respond and prepare ourselves for, you know, this day and time, which is pretty much what we know what was going to happen. It was all prophesied. But that's pretty much all I want to say on that.
Can I step in again? Mr. Nabat, I love what you said. I'm in total agreement with everything you said, aside from like the muscles, when you said about the muscles in your lungs not being able to work. They function well, but it's just that they can't move because of the stiffness of the mucus in your lungs. So they do work, but they just can't move because of what's happening. And like you said, get back to nature. I'll just talk straight. I've had it myself already. And this thing, no one needs to die from it, because it's a simple thing to look after yourself with it. Just go back to nature, start drinking your herbal teas. There's lots of things out there you can look for wherever you live. There's herbs. Thyme is one of them. Thyme tea. It's for respiratory problems. Thyme tea, but it's quite strong. Wherever you live, whatever herb is there related to your lungs, it works. It works. I've had it, my daughter's had it, my husband's had it, and we're all fine. We didn't bother call any doctor or anything. We just drank our herbal teas. Aniseed is one of the, whatever is in your country related to respiratory problems as herbs and stuff like that. Lemon, but people
with breathing, especially during this time with the coronavirus, you want to advise them, especially not to go on a respirator. I want to, and the reason why I'm saying this is because 80% of people who go on respirators, regardless of the condition, right? The infection, the condition of anyone breathing conditions, a respirator is literally designed to pump oxygen into the lungs, but a respirator is not natural. And as I stated, this particular respiratory syndrome, which is mucus coupled with a compromised muscles, which causes it, which makes it more, again, the reason why I'm bringing this up is family who go into these hospitals, and the reason why the death rate of the coronavirus of people who have been admitted into respirators are forcing the lungs to expand at an unnatural rate, frequency. You understand what I'm saying? When after there's ocean. So look this up, that 80% of people who go on respirators die. You understand what I'm saying? So, and they know this. These statistics that anyone, medical doctors who are also in these hospitals, a doctor by the name of Dr. Shiva Ayurveda, right, brought out some of these statistics. A lot of people who are passing, find out whether or not they were placed on respirators, because that's another contributing factor to the high mortality rate. It's not the virus, it's their inadequate response to this particular virus. You see what I'm saying? And placing people on respirators when the lungs are already compromised. The muscles in the lungs are already compromised from expanding, and they're forcing the lungs to expand with these respirators, and it's literally causing people to check out. So again, don't believe what I'm saying here. I want y'all to research this. And one of the things that what we need to be doing on here is bringing up solutions. That's something I want to contribute.
We're gonna hit the solutions, brother. We're gonna hit it. We're gonna hit it. But I'm sorry, I didn't want to cut you off, but I want to let you know we are gonna give solutions. But I just want to let you know we are.
Okay.
Hey, bro, let me
I just say one real. It's just and I'm finishing up. It was just the one vitamin C. This is something that is also going to boost the immune system right now, and also look up things like echinacea and elderberry. So that's pretty much what I had to contribute. Thanks for listening.
Hey, Dita, I'm gonna give you 1 quick minute, and after that, we got the elder Ramesu in the building, so we're gonna give him the opportunity. So after you, Dita, we give you a quick minute, man. Then we'll let the elder jump in.
well, look, I go ahead and let the elder speak then. We can move it on long.
Okay. All right. Well, we got the elder Ramesu. Please, Rabat.
Peace.
Please, what we did is we just had thoughts on it and about this, different states that want to open up. Now they're trying to open the states. So we're asking everybody what's their thoughts on it, and what they right now. The floor is yours.
Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, right? Most people will tell you that the coronavirus is real, and I will tell you that more than likely it's a hoax. And the reason why I say that is this, right? I listened to the brother who shared. He said, if people go to the hospital, don't get on the respirator, and he's right in the sense that 80% of the people who go on a respirator usually die, for whatever reason. But the reality of most coronavirus patients, when they enter into the hospital, any type of admission into the hospital gets a particular code that's distributed by the CDC. So if you are a coronavirus admittance into a hospital, then the hospital is going to be reimbursed $11,000 for that patient who's going into the hospital. So if I got 3 patients and one has pneumonia, well, 2 of them have pneumonia, and the third one may have pneumonia too. But because the symptoms are so similar to what they're calling the coronavirus symptoms, I'll say, and I may only get maybe $2,000 to $3,000 per admittance if it's just pneumonia. But if I say it's coronavirus, I'm getting $11,000. And now if I have to go on a ventilator because I'm gonna put you on a ventilator because I'm gonna get $39,000, to put you on a ventilator. And the proof of that is that prior to the pandemic, the New York City hospitals were about to close. They were getting ready to crash in a few of hospitals because they didn't have the budget to support them. And so now all of a sudden, you have so many cases in New York, and they're padded because now this was able to save the hospital system in New York because of the overabundance of cases, where now they're charging the federal government for reimbursements, which goes into the billions. So they're doing fine. But the brother said vitamin C, and vitamin C is good too. It boosts the immune system. But the only thing with that is that there's a big difference between vitamin C. There's a big difference between vitamin C and ascorbic acid. And most people are buying this ascorbic acid, which is made in the laboratory. That and that really is no good. If you want to do vitamin C, get you a bunch of oranges, get you a bunch of lemons, get you some grapefruits, and get it that way. And if you do that, to pump the immune system up, that's good. You can also do some Irish moss. And Irish moss is real good, in terms of bringing up phlegm in the lungs. And you might want to mix that with some bladderwrack, which is another C vegetable. But, it contains, iodine, zinc, potassium, phosphorus, calcium. And these are the things that we need, the minerals, the trace minerals, anything that's going to build up the immune system. Now, and in fact, I posted earlier on my webpage this retired nurse, and she's confronting the CDC. She's saying that she worked on the front line in the emergency room for almost 20 years, and she never caught the flu or got sick. So, so how are these people saying that? And she, did all the universal precautions, wash her hands, things like that. And she never got sick. I can tell you right now, I haven't had the flu in over 25 years, and why is that? And I've been around people that coughing and, got sick and the whole 9 yards. Why is that? I think it's correlated to my diet. I don't eat mucus forming foods. My diet is basically alkaline, and drinking plenty of water. So when you take care of your immune system, you're good to go. And most of these people, they're not telling you, you know, that their immune systems were probably already compromised. You know, how many people are still, you know, eating pork? How many people are still consuming dairy products? How many people are not getting enough trace minerals? How many people are not, you know, just taking care of themselves? So now when the immune system is down, this weaponized version of the coronavirus is going to hit you. It's going to hit you because it's a virus. And this particular virus, like all influenzas, is going to hit the respiratory system. It's going to hit your sinus system, you know. And like I said, if your body is more acidic, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel it. But you take care of yourself. You eat a and the brother, he mentioned elderberry. Elderberry is good too. You know, it's good for the, you know, respiratory system. Give you some licorice. Licorice is good also for the respiratory system. And if you can do that, you know, we're gonna be fine. But this weaponized version of the coronavirus is gonna knock people off the count who are not taking care of themselves. You know, if you're not taking care of yourself, then, you know, you're gonna be targeted. Now, as far as the social spacing and all that, come on, the virus is not airborne. So why do you have to separate yourself 6 feet away from the next person? You know, and these are the same, mind you, these are the same guidelines that they were instructing people 100 years ago to follow. Social spacing, you know, wash your hands, you know, wear face mask. If you go back and you research the Spanish flu, it's the same exact guidelines that they were implementing 100 years ago. Come on, 100 years ago. We gotta be doing better than that, much better than that. But if you allow fear to set in, you know, fear, you know, allows the body to secrete a hormone called cortisol, and cortisol will heavily impact the immune system. That in itself will help impact the immune system. So if you're already afraid and you're paranoid, and you're smoking cigarettes, and you smoking that weaponized weed because you don't know how to deal with being alone and dealing with your issues, and you getting high, yeah. So when you go to the hospital, they're not going to say all those were antecedents that led to the death. They're just going to say coronavirus. You know why? It's more money for the hospitals. So it's easy to say that. So every death becomes a coronavirus death. And I just want to say this last thing. I think I shared a couple of weeks ago. I lost a friend, right, who had an automobile accident on 64. He ran into the back of his car, and they didn't know because he had a problem with alcohol, and he died instantly. But there was a lot of, bottles and beer cans in his car, so they didn't know if he fell asleep or if he was drunk. So they had to do an autopsy. Do you know autopsies take weeks, sometimes months, to come up with the reason why a person died? How are they all of a sudden, overnight, giving you ridiculous figures saying that these people died of the coronavirus? Hospitals are overcrowded. You got people, in semi trucks being, loaded one on top of the other, right? How do they know? How do they get the results that quick, overnight, within hours, to say that person died from the coronavirus? Come on, man. We got to use our thinking. We got to be able to be critical thinkers, have a critical analytical analysis of this subject matter. Otherwise, they're going to dupe us again. But that's what I got.
All right.
That's what I got.
Thanks for dropping them bombs, Elder. We got somebody else that it looked like they got 145773. I don't know who you are, but you can. Your mic is unmuted, so can you announce yourself to the family so we know who you are?
That's Sean, man, from Minnesota, man. Sean, say something, man.
Whoever you are, please say something, man, before I kick you out. Because we need to know who you are. Your mute, their mute is they unmuted. 14573. Hello? Going once. Going twice. Sold. You ain't gonna say nothing? All right. Well. All right.
Let Sean say he want to go listen. You know what I mean?
You sure that's Sean?
Yeah, Sean, because he said, I'm not going to say nothing because y'all that's exposing. I said, we was talking, we ain't debating tonight. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, Sean. Hey, look, I'm not gonna mute you. I'm not gonna boot you, bro. I hope it's him. But look, what I wanted to what I wanted to show y'all some stats real fast. What I have pulled up, because the media is saying that and black people are dying at crazy rates. So what I did was I was able to find the total death so far as of this is as of April the 23rd, 2020. So for Asians, for indigenous people, it's been 123 deaths. For Asians, right, don't you get away. Don't you hear me talking? For Asians, it's 1,700. They got black. It's 10,127 deaths. For Latino, they got 5,964 deaths. For white, it's 17,167 deaths. For other, I don't know who other is, but they got other is 1,670 deaths. So I just wanted to put these numbers out here because according to the news, it's just killing black folks. But according to the stats that's been, these are for all U.S. states with available data, and Washington, D.C. percentage represents share of all the deaths with known race ethnicity. All right, so 17,167 deaths, according to them, has been of white people. So it's only been 10,127 deaths of blacks. They got blacks. They don't say African American, they say black. So that right, because they know, according to the news, this thing is attacking us only. It's killing us at, now I understand proportionally, it's higher for us because we only represent a good 12% of 12 to 14% of the population. It's all who we represent. So I understand that, but I just wanted to put that out there that so it's not just people that have died of this virus so far.
Hello? Could I say something?
Yeah.
When you just read off the numbers, right? The first thing that I caught was that what you were saying to me was that black people, Negroes, Moors, whatever, right? They are the first in line in need of the vaccination. That's what those statistics are saying. They're saying black people are the most in need of this vaccination, and these are the people that they're gonna push to get these vaccinations through. You understand? And another side note is that when we talk about the numbers are off because you have a lot of people here from Northern Africa, whether it be from Tanzania, whether it be from Libya, whether it be from Egypt. You got black people in this country from the Mediterranean, and when they come over here and they become naturalized citizens, their racial description is denoted as being white. Even though they could be as black as Muhammad Abni, which was classification changed to black, which he is, because they have him down as a white man. So those numbers are skewed. You know what I mean? When we talk about the population here. I just wanted to put that out.
Yeah, the elder, you hit on a real good point right there. But hold on, I think 145-773. Is that you, John? Yeah, we can hear you, brother.
No, I had to find my mic, so I had to hook it up because I'm in my little studio here. But no, I agree with y'all on that. But the thing is about with this corona, or whatever they call it, I just think do y'all think it's not? Is it not like a virus or something like that? What do y'all think it is, or is it not anything? So what do y'all think it is, though?
For me,
Hello?
me personally, I think it's a man-made. I think it's man-made virus. I don't think that it's natural. I think because we know that they have been working with viruses and biological weapons. They've been doing this for a long time. And doctors, the last set of viruses that we've been having, the SARS, the coronavirus, the bird flu, are regular viruses attack the body. They're saying that these are different types of viruses that out there today that really say that just a man-made virus and has been weaponized, and they're weaponizing the viruses. That's my personal take. I don't think that it's natural. I think it's man-made. Also, Brother Mansa, Ricky Williams, what we're talking about, I'm gonna tell y'all what we're talking about. We're talking about the coronavirus. We're talking about the fact that some states is wanting to open up. And we're asking, what do y'all think about it? What do you think about the coronavirus? Do you think the state should open up? Do you think the state should stay shut down? Do you think this coronavirus thing is real? Is black folks the ones who the coronavirus is killing? Is other people who the coronavirus is killing? What's y'all thoughts? This is what we've been talking about so far. And I'm gonna mute my mic. Y'all can jump in like y'all want to, but we got 5 minutes.
Peace, brother. Peace, brother. I'm like you, man. I believe that it is a man-made virus or something because I've been hearing that they even got patents on previous one now has been in the lab has been altered. It's been mutated to attack humans. At one point in time, it was attacking cattle and other forms of wildlife. So I believe it is all possible. I think this is anything natural. That's just what I believe. I don't know. It's been a lot of conflicting information, a lot of disinformation and misinformation, but me using my, just my mind itself, I do believe it's man-made and there's an agenda behind it. I've been hearing a lot about microchips, things like that, and just trying to take away more American freedom. Let me rephrase that. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, I think that thing, got to deal with a whole bunch of this, they call it that 5G stuff. Because that 5G got the same kind of symptoms as this virus. So I think it got a mixture, with the 5G and the virus because, if I don't know if anybody noticed, but I noticed it down here. The weather keeps changing. It's hot like that, It's easy to catch a cold, So, like I said, with that 5G thing, That's radioactive waves and stuff like that, And the radioactive waves gives you the same thing like a virus would do. So I think really, actually, it's a cover up, and it does have a lot to do with this controlness because if you eliminate the population of people, then they have a more better control of that,
Yeah, one thing that it's been bothering me a lot about lately, and I know I ain't the only one, because I see a lot of people talk about it, but it's funny to me how like the narrative behind the ethnic source of the virus is now switched. Now we're seen as being the face of the coronavirus, COVID-19, and that's something I've just found strange, and I just think that's crazy because it's like even now, as you know, the brothers and sisters over there in China are facing discrimination, and even the Chinese government, they're lying us to our face and saying that they don't see it. When there's plenty of videos on World Star and they're lying. Government officials are straight lying, saying that it's not happening, as if it's a conspiracy or something. But I just think that's crazy. Anybody want to weigh in on that?
I will jump in on it. I'm thinking about it else. I've been seeing it. I've been posting videos about it. I got videos where the Chinese is locking the brothers in their house, man. And they not letting them open up the doors. They tell them if you need water, you come to the door, you hit, somebody gonna come. And he like, man, like, what if we need food? They're like, well, you just come here and you bang on it and then we'll bring you what you need. So it's real, man. They are right now kicking Africans out and kicking them out the rooms and, not letting them stay in more rent. 6 months worth of rent. And it's a certain town. I can't think of the name of the town in China because it's a certain town. So yeah, the brother right. I've been seeing it. And you have Africans on the continent that's starting to kick these Chinese asses, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we ain't the old Africans over here. Like, we're a little different breed. And I seen some videos yoking the Chinese folks up, like yoking them up, like you gonna get up out of here. Like, so that's real though, man. And that's why I put the stats up a little earlier to let people see that they trying to it's killing African Americans, but over 17,000 white said it's like over 50,000 deaths somewhere around that range. So 17,000 of the deaths have been white people. It's been 10,000 deaths saying black, but 10,000 for black, 17,000 for white, and the age. I mean the Mexicans is more like I put the numbers out there because they always trying to make it seem like it's us, but proportionally is very high for us because we only make up a certain percentage of the population in America. So I understand proportionally it's high, but as far as total deaths, plus the fact you might not need to do all that, I'm gonna leave that alone. Let somebody else talk.
I think that we can't really begin to trust what they give us in terms of the numbers because they've changed the narrative on this real easy and real quick. Let me give you an example. See, they give us in the news what they want us to have. Early on, the feds arrested the Harvard chairman of the biochemical department, Dr. Lieber. You remember that? Dr. Lieber lied to the feds. They locked him up because the university in Wuhan, right, they gave Dr. Lieber, right, $1.5 million, plus they was paying him $50,000 a month with everything, room and board. And now this is a biochemist, right? Now, funny, when he went over there and they hired him, he lied to the government about his involvement with the university over there and why they hired him. Now, at the same time, not only did they lock him up, but they locked up 2 other people with him. And one of those persons was caught with sensitive biological samples that they were trying to smuggle back to China. The other one was a Chinese national. I believe she was a lieutenant in the Chinese army. So why haven't we heard anything about them anymore? I mean, it was big news at the end of February. It was big news. All of a sudden now it just quieted down. No one is even talking about it. But they accuse him because he's the chairman at Harvard University biochemical department. Why we don't hear anything about it? And it just so happened that the university is in Wuhan, where the so-called virus was unleashed, or so to speak. But they give us what they want to give us. They piecemeal us, and the whole goal is to get the whole Earth, the planet, vaccinated. But we're gonna start first with the Negroes because they are the face of this virus right now. And if we let them dictate the narrative, then that's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be black people lining up to get this, vaccination, which is really, when you think about it, how do we trust them? In light of the syphilis, experiments that they did on us, how they took Henrietta Lacks cells without her permission, how the various different surgical procedures that they've done on our people over the years. Just straight up using us as guinea pigs. How do we trust them? How do we trust them? I say it's population control on various different levels, and this is just a level that we're seeing right now. They're hitting us with RNA interference. Where they're weaponizing not only drugs but food. You know what I'm saying? And anybody in the medical industry knows that that RNA interference is a well-known phenomenon. It's a process where the RNA molecules inhibit gene expression, effectively blocking the organism's genes from synthesizing proteins or other molecules that are crucial for sustaining life. Come on. They got it down to a science so structured that they got us in our communities going to the plasma bank, giving up our plasma. Why? You ask the average brother, what function does plasma serve in the body? They couldn't tell you, but yet they giving it up for $30 a watt, which is crazy. Because you're going to need that plasma, to ensure that your body is able to absorb the various different nutrients, and minerals that it needs. Without that plasma, you can't do that. It's going to further impact your immune system. So right now, as we're talking, people are still going to the plasma, lab to get that money, but they're impacting their immune system. So they're gonna be, they're gonna be on that line. When they read that list of all the casualties, a lot of them gonna come up on that list. But what's not gonna come up on that list is that they had a bad diet, they had pre-existing conditions, they had high blood pressure, they had diabetes, and they was going to the plasma lab. See, that's not gonna be on there. The only thing that's gonna be on there, death by coronavirus. That's it. That's it. And it's a shame. We need to question them. We need to question the statistics. We need to question the numbers. I don't trust them, And just like the Native Americans said, pale man speak with forked tongue. He's the same one that gave us our messed up school system, same one that gave us, that tricked us into, selling drugs in our neighborhood, putting us in jail because, the prison industrialized revolution is a for-profit organization. I don't want to ramble on. I'm gonna give it up.
Well, Elder, what about it's the Bible fulfilling itself? What do you say about that?
Well, it depends because there's always, when you look back at our history, there's always been rumors of war, earthquakes in diverse places. It's always been that. So we can say, the religious people, amongst us can say, oh, well, these are the signs of the time now. These things have always occurred. Wars have always occurred in the world. You know what I mean? And they're saying this is the end of the world. They got Eon, which is the end of a cycle. Confusing it with the end of the world. You know what I mean? So when you talk to these religious people, they say, "Oh, Jesus is coming back." He's not coming back because he represented a constellation called Pisces, the Piscean age. And his disciples asked him, "So when will you and you see a man, pouring with a jug, pouring water, then you enter into that house." And what was that house? That was a sign of the Aquarian age. So we got to be able to read, past the literal interpretations and get into the essence. We can easily say, yeah, the Bible's talking about this day and time. This day and time has existed for the past 2,000 years.
Hey, Elder Remesu, when you was talking about them pouring out the water, was that libation?
No, actually, the constellation sign Aries, the symbol of it is a man with a jug pouring out water. Because that's just like the Sagittarius sign is the Centaurian, half man.
Yeah,
half
you're right,
horse.
because I'm Aquarius, so you're exactly right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And water represents the knowledge being poured forth. That's what we're in this Aquarian age, and we've been in here since the 70s, the opening of the seventh seal. We've been here since the 70s. There was a group that used to sing that record. The Aquarius. I can't think of the name of that group, but they had a record called Aquarius. Oh man, I can't think of the name of that group. It'll come to me. But anyway, yeah, we've been acting like, we just got in it in 2012. No, we've been here for 50 years.
So the 60s was a snapshot of what Aquarius was, because there was a lot of protesting going on in the 60s. There was a lot of in history, even though we may disagree with some of the decisions that were made, but it seemed like it was a battle going on in the 60s, and it kind of makes sense. Into a new age, and the old age was fighting to hold on, but the new age was still coming to take over. I'm just throwing that out there,
Is that group called the First Dimension?
Yeah, the Fifth Dimension. That's what it was.
Fifth
Dimension. Yeah. That was the name. It was Mary McCoobs. I think she was the lead singer of that group. But in a certain sign, and we know that we're coming into the age of Aquarius. It goes, Google that record and listen to.
Yeah, this Mark Curated. We said something about the group. I looked it up a while ago. So that's why I came up with the name Fifth Dimension. I looked it up. I'm gonna listen to it, check it out, so what they're talking about.
Yeah. But yeah, when you go back to the 60s, right? There was a lot of things happening, where people were beginning to wake up, and it was almost like, standing on our square. There was a lot of things going on, and the CIA and FBI, they were scared. So they came up with this. They called it a fear of a black messiah. The COINTELPRO was infiltrating. They was making sure that there would not be another Martin Luther King, another Malcolm X, because if that were the case, we taking them out. So, you know, they had their little plans. As a matter of fact, the Fremont Papers, right? It's a 96-page book that was published after the 60s. In fact, I think it published it like in 1980, 81. But it was white conservatives, you know, what they did was they came together, right, to have an alternate strategy, you know, or to how to pressure or bring forth, you know, a progressive black agenda for empowering black people in the United States. And this is coming from your Republican Ed Meese. Ed Meese was the Attorney General to Ronald Reagan. In fact, he came out of Ronald Reagan's gubernatorial thing in California, because Ronald Reagan was the governor of California in 1966, and they say he saved California. They say he saved California. And when he came to California and became the governor in 1966, there was a proclamation on his desk to allow the Church of Satan to exist. And then the high priest of that church was Anton LaVey. And Anton LaVey was the technical advisor on all these movies like Rosemary's Baby, Damien. You know, they talked about a devil's child being born in 1966. You know, and if you've seen that movie, Damien, read your Bible, so when you get 13, you know who you are. Well, if you add a 13 to the year 1966 when he was born, you're going to come up with the year 1979. And in 1979, the United Nations declared it the International Year of the Child. They didn't say children, they said child, one, numero uno. You know what I mean? And it all plays into the government being a part of this satanic cult. We still there?
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello, Elder Sir. How are you?
Hey, how's everything?
Fine, thank you.
Okay,
You've just spoken about. Say it again.
I said, good to hear your voice.
And you've just spoken about the Church of Satan.
Yes.
If there's a Satan, there must be a God. No? Yeah. And you said that, yeah. But it's not a black God, it's just God. He created everyone.
Say again?
He's not black God, he's just God. He created everyone.
Well, you know, when it depends on how you see God, Julie. You know, most people, they take the word God, and the word God has several different meanings because it's actually a German word. God is actually a German word,
I know that.
Yeah. So, but there's a creator that puts everything in motion. You know, 100%. but does he or she have a personality? I don't know about that. You know, because most of our people were pantheists. You know, most of our people were pantheists that dealt with African spirituality. So I can't say that we can give the creator of everything a personality, because the only way we can give the creator a personality is if we're dealing on this side of hydrogen. Because hydrogen is the lightest element on the periodical table of elements, you know, but if we go on the other side of hydrogen, right, then we get into what we call subatomic particles, where things don't add up to a thing. They don't add up. You have quarks, you have bioptures, you know, you have zales, and these things don't add up. They don't have any weight. And this is the realm, right, on a subatomic level that the creator of everything would have to come from. So if the creator doesn't add up to anything on this side of hydrogen, how are we giving the creator a personality? Or even a name? Even a name. How do we do that?
You're how can I put it? You are describing the creator based on your limited human experience. The creator has to be supernatural to create the natural. So it is not bound by nature at all. If I'm making sense. He's the creator of nature, but he's not bound by natural laws. Because if he is, he's not the creator. So you're describing a creator based on your natural human experience.
Yeah, we all have a natural human experience, Julie.
There you go.
I mean, we do, but within the natural human experience, right? You have to go all the way back, and you have to go back real to the beginning. And when you go to the beginning and you deal with haplogroups, a haplogroup, you know, the oldest haplogroup comes out of Africa, out of South Africa, oldest haplogroup. Now, these groups that came out of Africa who lived on the continent couldn't speak English. They didn't speak English. They didn't speak German. They didn't speak any of the European languages because Europe didn't exist. There was no Europe. But these individuals were able to communicate with a creator that created everything in existence. And they didn't call that creator God because they didn't speak English.
That's no problem. I've got no problem with someone calling the creator God. It's just a word. We don't have to get, I don't want to get into semantics because it's just semantics. We speak English, which is a Germanic word. So just for the sake of this argument, it's God, but we don't have to get into that. But I don't want to change the subject. But you said that you was talking about the Church of Satan. So therefore, if there's a Satan, there must be a God, a creator. And you said the Bible is not fulfilling because things have always happened. I agree with you there. And it is only the end of the age. I agree with you there. But at the same time, all the things that it speaks of has been happening since the beginning of this year, one after the other. And that's exactly what the Bible explains. It says it's like birth pains. Birth pains happen slowly and contraction. That's what's happening now. There has never been in a time of this planet that the whole world needs to be vaccinated. That's something spoken of in the Bible.
Hey, Julie, sorry, let me jump in real fast. Julie, you heard of the Spanish flu?
Yeah.
Okay, so during the Spanish flu, you don't think that the whole world needed to be vaccinated?
They didn't though.
How many people died during the Spanish flu?
Many, but they still didn't vaccinate everyone.
Okay, I'm saying they didn't have the technology that they have today. Not only the Spanish flu, let's go on what was the next pandemic in the 60s? There was another one.
Are you talking
bird flu? There's been bird flu, Spanish flu, there's been the Black Death.
What about the bird flu? You don't think that everybody needed to have been vaccinated during the bird flu?
But they didn't.
I'm saying, do you think that everyone needed to have been vaccinated during the bird flu?
And they didn't. And they still don't need to be vaccinated now for this coronavirus either. But it's okay. A plan. It's a plan thing. It's got nothing to do with corona, because if it did, they wouldn't be testing kids who don't have it.
I understand what you're saying, and I agree with you. I agree with you about it being planned. But I think Mr. Trueborn wanted to answer your question about God, because I can answer your question about God and the devil. I can tell you exactly.
Oh, I don't want to hear about the Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday things.
No.
I don't want to hear about
Julie,
that.
this is the thing. Are you going to accept what I tell you is the question?
No, because I know take them away from me.
I can tell you, Julie, that God that we came up with to describe our inner self, to describe our higher and our lower self. So when you about God, you're talking about land and water. You're talking about duality. Nature is based off have a left eye, you have a right eye. You get what I'm saying? You have a left hand, you got a right hand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everything is based off duality. So if you're going to talk about something good, you have to have the opposite of good.
But the opposite of God is not Satan.
What would be the opposite of God?
He's one-off. He's a one-off. He's on his own, standalone, one-off.
So it's no opposite. So everything else is based off what is a duality? It's another word though. But everything is based off duality.
You're talking about polarity. You're talking about
polarity. That's the word I wanted to use, polarity. If everything is based off polarity, but this one creator, and for one, you're using creator because when you deal in ancient history, you understand that at first they worshiped the creatress because she brought life. It wasn't a creator. The creatorally, you need to say the creatress, not a creator. That's for one.
But this creator things did not predict all these things that are happening now.
Slow down. The creatress predictions that you're talking about came from the creatress. It's just that they later changed it to the creator. Mute my mic though, because everybody else can go here. I'm just mute my mic.
Yeah, there was a balance, you know what I'm saying? You got to have man and woman, but, you know, when you're dealing with the creator is man and female, you know what I'm saying, combined together. So you can't just say one without the other. You know what I'm saying? That thing, you got, if you got God, you're going to have a devil. You know what I'm saying? Just like you have a good, you have to have a bad. Everything goes through a balance, you know what I'm saying? That's the form of like nature. You know, so we got to be a part of that, and that's what we are. That's why certain people you might hear call them say it was a little bit different, you know, because we, like the brother was saying, you know, them people didn't use them type of words because they wasn't no English speaking people or other races, what we call now. But you know, it was African people, and they had their African languages that they were speaking, and that word God was something like I remember that name there, Netaru and Neta. Them are some of the words that they use for the word God, you know. But even when it comes to the all in all, there's a higher, you know what I'm saying, power within us. But I never actually called that higher power was both, because you had to have a balance, you know, just as well you have that woman, you have to have that man. And that what makes the whole population of, you know what I'm saying, this planet Earth, what we call man and woman. Yes. That's my piece on that.
Yes, yeah, that you hit the nail right on the head, my brother, because you know we have what we call the axioms of Tahuti, and there's 7 of them. And the first axiom is all is mental. You know, the whole universe is the mind. So then you talk about the law of correspondence, which is as above, so below, right? Then you talk about the law of polarity, where everything is generated out of its own opposite. So you have yin and yang, you have up and down, you have to and fro. You see, so everything comes in duality. So you have pairs of everything. You know, just like life. Life is birth, death, and regeneration. Birth, death, and regeneration. These are mathematical figures that we always show and prove throughout Earth. So when we talk about heaven, right, we're talking about rising the natural energy from the base chakra all the way up to the crown chakra, right, where it revolves around the pineal gland. They say there's 24 elders that sit around the throne. 24 elders. Now, at the base of the medulla oblongata, right, is 12 cranial nerves times 2. 12 cranial nerves, and they're doubled. So 24 elders that sit around the throne, right? Now, we can talk about that, right? And we can talk about it in a way where, you know, we're talking about, even when we talk about on the mount or the skull of who you call Yeshua, when he was crucified between 2 thieves, right? Which are the male factors or the snakes of Christ, the Ida, the black serpent, and the Pingala, the white serpent. And in the middle of that energy is called the Shamsuna, right? Now, I submit that when we talk about going to heaven, right, we're talking about, you know, all these things are chemical manifestations, you know, in the physiology of man. And a good book to read, let me see, to break that down, I can't think of the brother's name, is, it'll come back to me. But you still there, Julie?
Yeah. Can I just add, I don't discredit what you're saying, but there's more than one level. The body is a temple. So yes, you can use the Bible to describe physical things, but there's a mental and a spiritual aspect as well as the physical.
Yeah, no doubt. No, you're absolutely correct, Julie. You're correct. You know, I'm saying that in ancient Kemet, you know, we gave these various different energies, we gave them names, and some people may think at some point that they were physical entities, like we call the wind, we call it Shu. We call the wind Shu. Now, Shu had a what we call what was that? It's trying to tip my tongue. Oh man. Okay, it'll come back to you. Anyway, what we do is we call, you know, we like, for example, Heru, right? Heru, right, in the book of the coming forth by day, you know, we recognize that he is the principle of perpetual renewal or regeneration. He's not a God. You know, he is the son child in the Trinity, or we say triad. You know, usually Christian people say Trinity. We say triad. You know, and the child in all ancient African trinities represented the ability of a phenomenon to perpetuate itself. So within the ancient African cosmology, nothing dies. It all goes into non-existence. Only it goes into non-existence. Only changes form. That's all. It goes from one form to another. Energy can't be destroyed, nor is it created. It always was. It always existed in the mind of the creative divine element that most people are calling God. You follow that?
But it still doesn't get away from the fact that everything that is happening now was predicted.
Show me where
We can explain it away, but everything that's happening now was predicted.
Show it to me. Show it to me, Joey. Show me where it says that this coronavirus was predicted at a particular time to manifest itself on the planet. Just show me where it says that in any holy book.
It doesn't say coronavirus, but it says pestilence. You said the verse. It's Matthew 24. I haven't got the Bible. I'm not going to read it now. You can read it in your own time. But it says,
I'm familiar with it, Joey.
Okay,
yeah.
It gives you a list of things, doesn't it? It gives you a list of signs, and it classifies it as like birth pains, and people miss that. Yes, there's always been wars. Yes, there's always been all these things, but at the moment, it's all happening at the same time. And the fact that this racism is getting ridiculously silly at the moment. Coronavirus is the perfect conduit to bring in this new world order. Everything, it's perfect. Get rid of money, nation against nation, which is ethnicity. That's the original word, ethnos v ethnos, not as actually countries, but racism, in other words. You know, pandemics, well, it says, what's it called, pestilences, what else is there? All these things, getting rid of money, a one world government. We're going into a communist type of lifestyle here, and I don't see how people are not seeing it. I don't see how. I lived in France for a good few years, and this lockdown is regular French lifestyle. It's normal. They're used to it. I don't even think the French see anything different with how this coronavirus is changing our society, because that's French society for you. I don't think people are ready for what's coming next. I really don't. They're being blindsided by Corona. Corona ain't it. It's Julie, a smokescreen for what's coming next.
I'm sorry, sister, but you know, all the stuff that African Americans have been through, you gotta understand this. The Arab slave people castrated. I mean, then the Atlantic slave trade, 400 years of slavery, wherein we've been removed from our parents, being sold, being killed, being what?
That's
true. Hold up, let me finish. We still here. We still reproducing. We're still telling me this coronavirus. My point is this. This is what I want you to understand. I don't care what happens. I don't care what happens, Julie. We are gonna survive. So this doomed new world order, do you think we already headed that way? What do you?
No, we're not. This is not it. Julie, this is not it.
Julie, let me show
this you. This is nice.
If you really want to get serious about this.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I'm talking about before the coronavirus. Once the United States,
I agree with you.
Listen, a lot of things that the government is trade, many stuff already here. The one world currency is what we decide is currency. The people decide what the currency is. For exchange, for our services, that is currency. So that Bitcoin already out here. You talking about digital currency? Bitcoin been here. I got Bitcoin. I'm into digital currency. So I'm hoping that they do some money. I'm being straight up honest with you. I hope they do go to a digital currency. I'm prepared. I've been studying digital currency for a while. So
that's not a problem, Stuart.
But my point is this, Julian. All this doomsday. Listen, we got three generations of your family that all said that they were living in the last days. And you cannot tell me in the last days. You cannot tell me that your great-grandma and I don't know if your parents are still here, but luckily my mama's still here. But all been saying we living in the last days. This has been said for 3 generations that I can recall. and sit on, we still listen. No,
The
man.
last day started 2,000 years ago, but that's not the last day. There's the last day and the last of the last
when it's time
days.
for me to leave it
That
up.
might be a
But guess
few
what?
years from now, Stuart.
When my body and my body decay, I'm gonna leave. But as far as everybody, get out of that doomsday
No, it's
stuff.
not end of the world. I'm not saying it meant a change of how we live, an extreme change.
All dynasties fall. You can't look at history and fail. You can't find one where it was one group of people in power forever.
No.
Kemet has the longest 600 years, man. It ain't been that long. I mean, if it's time for it to fall, let it fall. I mean, it is what it is. But I'm not going to sit around here and be from Kemet. So if you the Bible says that you need to go back to where it came from and give the credit. I'm gonna read my mind.
We'll see. You guys
We've
are
been
not
seeing
ready.
If I pay attention to the signs of the season, right, then I know certainly I could write a book about the season. You know what, Julie? It's going to rain. It's going to rain real soon. I promise you it's going to rain. And then after it rains, then the sun is going to come out. And guess what? In about 3 or 4 months from now, right, it's going to get real hot. Then it's going to get cold. See, if I'm aware of the signs of the time, I can tell you anything, and it'll be the same as if someone said the exact same thing 100 years. It's going to rain in a couple of days, and guess what? It rains. So does that mean that that I'm doing something that's unusual or supernatural? No, I paid attention to the development, right, of the celestial bodies and how they work in harmony and unison. We call that the perception of the equinox.
But look, well, I'm seeing it with my own eyes. Look, I live in England. It's supposed to be cold now. It's supposed to be raining every day. If you're talking about the natural, it's supposed to be raining every day. We haven't seen rain for 2 weeks.
You'll see it real soon, Julie. Trust me. Trust and believe.
That's not normal. Never. It's supposed to be cold.
Well, Julie, you better do like the Indians got there, start doing some rain dancing in. Get the rain to come. Like, you ain't demolished us. You feel like you don't have no control.
No, I do. I'm not worried. I'm just saying he's talking about the natural. I'm just explaining what I'm seeing.
I'm talking about rain, Julie. If you truly believe that, then you should be able to make it rain today.
I agree.
You should.
I'm just. But I'm not saying I'm not doing anything. I'm just like what he's saying. I'm just responding to him. He's saying everything's the same as it was before.
Only thing I'm telling you is you have the power within.
100%.
And if you truly believe you have the power within, you'll get out.
I'm not talking about that. He's talking about the natural, and I'm saying it's not natural at the moment. That's all I'm saying. It's not. Nothing is natural at the moment. How can we be going outside and getting sick? That ain't even natural.
Mother Earth needed a break. The Earth needed a break. And the sky. Look at Earth, man. Earth needed 100%. A break. We giving the Earth a break. The Earth is going through a clean mess. Call it what it is. Let me stop though, man. Yo, let me read my mic good.
Peace, family. I'm enjoying the conversation. Sitting out here learning tonight. I don't have too much to say tonight. Y'all making a lot of sense. I respect all y'all views. But yes, we gotta eat right and keep vitamins up, eat the herbs, wash your hands. That's common sense. You don't walk around stinking and passing nobody or yourself. So that's pretty much what I got to say right now. Brother Mitsu.
Peace, brother.
Right back, brother. Peace, brother.
How you doing?
Good. Got brother Nabat up here, man. He's Nuwappian too, I'm glad he showed up.
Who?
Brother Nabat. He's with us.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, he's Nuwappian. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, that's good. Where you from, brother? Are you
brother
still there?
Brother Nabat. He's up here, man, but his mic is off.
Okay.
Brother Nabat.
Yeah, roll back.
Peace, brother. We got brother Remitsu up here. You see him as Stephen Goins. He's Nuwappians also. I'm Nuwappian. He's my elder.
Yeah. I was listening to him. I also wanted to bring up something that the master teacher, Dr. Malachi York, has been teaching us about these things for years. So we already know that it's not about the Bible, but it does go back to our ancient culture, ancient Egypt, and even predating ancient Egypt. going back as far as South Africa, as the elder was pointing out. But it's there's a scroll that the master teacher wrote years ago called the Master Secret. It was a two-part. Second part was Judgment upon the Adamites. The part called Judgment upon the Adamites has a few verses in it that actually speaks to exactly what's if y'all, I'll actually bring it up and read it real quick. So he says here in verse. Okay. So he says here in verse 41. He says they are being removed as part of healing of the Kawak. He says in verse 42, it is being done right now as over many years by virus, which means in Latin poison. 43. Every time the Laben Salah white race expands, their makers send upon them plagues to reduce their population down to a selected number. And because of their tampering with genes to birth neutrinoids or mixed seeds of Shakasu people with no race or hybrids called brids, a new race. 44. Yet not a race. 45. Read Man from Planet Risk, scroll number 80, pages 10 to 25. 46. So the Haman Mudwa, human devil, has now tampered with divine violation. A few more verses and I'll be done. 1, chromosomes. 2, outer space. 3, elements. These are just 3 of the things that the master teacher lists that they have been tampering with. Verse 47. Take fake, unnatural things, elements, travel out of this earth atmosphere, bringing back things that should be left out there, and cloning cross humans and animals. 48. It's not what's meant for you to eat as all beef or goat or lamb. Yet what did they eat? Such as Khazar, pig brains, other body waste fed to them. 49. This is the last verse. For this, they now have to deal with their end by way of 24 viruses to date. And there are many out of control. Check keyword, out of control, such as, and listen, he lists some of the viruses here. Just get 13, but listen close to them. 1, HIV. 2, SARS. That's the second virus that he listed. 3, Ebola. 4, Neba. 5, influenza. 6, number 6, MERS, which is another strain of the coronavirus. 7, bird flu. 8, herpes. 9, West Nile virus. 10, chikungunya. 11, D68 enterovirus. 12, mad variant Creutzfeldt, Jacob, and people. And 13, bubonic plague. He doesn't list all 24 viruses. But if you note, as I noted in the last verse, he stated there are many that are out of control, as he lists SARS and MERS, coronavirus. Also, in a book called The God of Light and Fire, the master teacher mentions the same thing and actually shows us a picture of the coronavirus in the book. So this came out years ago, and that's that is to say that what's taking place right now, if it is a prophecy, it's prophesying the ending of their rule and their destruction by way of their unnatural nature. You see what I'm saying? And I just wanted to bring that up because, again, that's a book, scroll written by the master teacher, a master secret, called Why No Help From Above. That's part 1, and the second part to it is Judgment Upon the Adamites. So this is actually their judgment that we're witnessing right now. It does not have anything to do with us, but as he stated, that they have also produced a lot of mixed seeds. It's in those of us who live in their image, who eat their diets, who live in their environments and who also have their natures. So, you know, many so-called Black people, unfortunately, are going to suffer the same fate because of, you know, living in that image. So I'm saying the image of the beast. So it's not to do with the Bible, but it is prophesying their internship. And I just want the family to understand that it's not to do with us.
Hey, that was peace, brother. That was peace there. Anybody got anything?
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, my brother. Your name is Nabat?
Yes, sir. You pronounced it correct. Nabat Cathapholia Amos.
Okay. That was thank you for sharing that piece.
Wow, brother. Thanks to you.
Brother, I got a question. Brother back.
Yes, sir. What's up?
What is the break? Can you break down the word Sabians? I know a lot of people say a lot of Sabian.
So that word is to be understood in there's many dynamics to that particular word. I'll explain it like this. When you say Sabian, it's related to the Queen of Sheba, right? Who is also called Queen Hatshepsut or Ma'at Ka-Reyeh. This was a female ruler of ancient Egypt and Ethiopia and Arabia and Nubia at the time. She ruled a vast territory, but she was specifically a descendant of our ancient ancestors from the stars. Many of the pharaohs of ancient Egypt, in order to get on the throne of ancient Egypt, you had to be of a specific bloodline descendancy. So this queen, being of the bloodline descendancy, was able to turn to the native people of that land, the native language called Nisbatia, which is the Sabian language. So what you can research is the language called Sabbatic, or Sabian language or script. This is a particular script that was reintroduced during the 18th dynasty of ancient Egypt, which is it was the original native script of the pre-dynastic Egyptians or the Pygmies Pataites who migrated up the Nile from South Africa before Menes set up the 46th dynastic period. So again, when we speak of Sabians, we're speaking about the original inhabitants of the Nile Valley before the corruption of the 46 dynastic periods being set up from the foreigners or the mixed seed of our descendants who went over into Mesopotamia or into Babylon, turned and then corrupted and began to rule over the Nubians of the south, or let's say the Pygmies, Pataites of the south. And much of their sciences and culture and language was taken and stripped away from them over time. Queen of Sheba returned those sciences. Basically, so when we speak about Sabian, Saba is a language or a word that you can find in the hieroglyphics referring to a star or a star gate, right? And or also it referred to the group of people who were referred to as the teachers or astrologers, right, in ancient Egypt, who tracked the stars. As our elder was speaking about earlier, what we need to get back into is the science of the stars, or the science of solar biology. They call it astronomy. What we need to focus more so on is solar biology, which is the attachment or the connection that we have to the stars and those beings who came from the stars, right? Because although we do come from the stars, so when we speak about Sabians, Sabians, we're speaking about the star people, the descendants, those Egyptians who came from specifically the Orion star constellation and the Sirius star constellation, two star constellations specifically spoken about adamantly in ancient Egypt by our ancient ancestors as being the origin from where we came. And what you'll find is that the Sirius star constellation in our language is actually pronounced Sabatat in the Sabian language. And you'll find that this word Sabian is found in the Arabic language, it's found in the Hebrew language as the number 7. So in the Hebrew language, it's found as the number 7 because they mixed it with the Orion star constellation, which has 7 stars, which is composed of 7 stars. But actually, originally, referred to the Sirius star constellation. All of this dealt with sciences of ancient Egypt as passed down from the beings, our ancestors, who came from these other star systems and came and taught, who we know as our ancestors, the ancient Egyptians, but which originally would have been referred to as Musbatu in the original tones, not Egyptians.
So let me ask you a question. What language family did this language that you're talking about, the Sabians, is that the word you said? What language family does their language go back
So they
to?
would link it to the Proto-Sinaitic, which is basically Proto-Sinai Delta, which, again, the reason why they track it back to that is because they're tracing it to the 18th dynasty. I want you to do some research on this particular language called Sabian. They'll trace it back to the 18th dynasty, to the Queen of Sheba, also called the Queen Hatshepsut, or Ma'at-Kare. This was a specific queen, but as I stated earlier, this is not the origin of the Sabian language. This is the reintroduction of the language. You see what I'm saying? Because what people don't know is that when we speak about 46 dynasties, we're speaking about corruption of the original tradition and cultural way of life of the people of the land of Egypt, right? What happened was you had a mixed seed of people under Menes or Narmer who came into Egypt from Babylon and Mesopotamia, from the east. These are people who did not originate in Egypt. They originated from the east, and this is why when you look at the Narmer pilot, you see Narmer or Menes holding a staff, and he's holding, right, and you see at in the lower bottom right and left hand corner of that pilot, you'll see the Nubian people. Those are the original inhabitants of the land. So what we're looking at when we speak about the 46 dynastic period, we're speaking about a corruption of the original cultural way of life of the people, where the sciences were stripped away from them.
I get all that. I'm trying to deal with the language right now. So you said language. Is that what you said? I'm asking.
I said that they were related. They were related because they will tell us that this particular language developed during the time of the 18th dynasty.
But you said that was the reintroduction into it. So based off the ancient language, what does it relate to?
Well, that's why I said, well, we need language family. We need to get back to the root, and Misbatia would be the root language.
So is that connected? Is that connected to any type of?
That's exactly. It's not just connected to the Bantu languages. It's the mother of. What I want you to research the mother and father tongue of the ancient Egyptian language, as well as the.
We know the ancient Egyptian language, a culmination of tribes that all came into Egypt. But we understand that their language family it follows the Bantu language. That's the lineage that all of the Asiatic language, but it's really not Asiatic. It really is the Bantu language. So that's why this language that you speak about, because when you research Bantu, you understand, and the sounds of the Bantu language starts with the tree, dealing with the base of the tree, the leaves, the branches, all the language. They compared it to the tree, like the base was to run or to stand your ground. This is how the Bantu language is formatted. You can trace the Bantu because the Bantu language is based off them coming out of the tree. So instead of them, with dealing with, they say that the other one stayed in the tree. But when you trace the Bantu language all the way back to its origin, it's dealing with the tricking of where does this fit in at? Because the Bantu has been traced back to its origin and where it originated from. Tree.
So our record tells us, and we're on the right track. But I think we maybe speak about those different tribes who culminated up into Egypt and began to migrate up from, all had a part, because you had different tribes that were coming from different regions in Africa, right? So you didn't always have tribes who were around, exposed to other elements and environments in Africa, right? Which also had contributions to the language that eventually culminated in Egypt. You understand what I'm saying? So when you say Bantu, that's just one branch. That's not mother tongue of Africa. That's one they tie to the tree specifically. But there are other tribes, many other tribes that came from other parts of Africa that contributed.
What language? What I'm trying to. Okay. So now you have to tell me what are the other language families that contributed with Bantu? Because what's that doesn't originate from Bantu?
Well, that's why I think That's why I think the misunderstanding may fall, because that's what I'm referring to. I'm referring to the six come from the Bantu. You see what I'm saying? The Bantu branch. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Okay, I hear you. I understand.
Like think of the tree. Think of the tree having multiple branches. The Bantu is one branch from which there are many other branches and many other dialect languages
That's what I'm asking.
that came from.
Give me one that don't come from Bantu. That's what I'm asking you. Like, give me one. You said the Sabian. Can you give me another one?
Also the Arabian tongue, also the Hebrew tongue, which does not. Now, many people are going to disagree with this because they're going to say, well, we find many Bantu words inside the Hebrew language.
That's a Bantu language, though. Hebrew is a Bantu. Arabic is a Bantu language. All of them come from Bantu. This is new. The information I'm bringing forth. The one time they were saying Egyptian is they had it under the what's that Asiatic. They had it under the Asiatic. The Egyptian language was under the Asiatic family, but that's been destroyed now. That's old. That's no longer. That's Negro Asiatic, whatever it was. I forgot that white dude that put that family up there. But it's some African scholars that don't like originate from Bantu, because Hebrew come from it. Arabic come from it. So
research the origin of the Arabic. We can actually pull it up. You know what I'm saying? I like that.
I'm with you. I'm not trying to.
No. We're on the same page. That's not a disagreement. The misunderstanding really falls in the use of the terms, because there was much mixing that took place. Like, for example, when we say a Hebrew language, when we speak about an Arabic language, there is no such thing. Historically, if you research this, historically, until you can go to Genesis chapter, right? And then it speaks about a woman named Hagar, who was one of his slaves, who was given to him by his and when Sarah gave this slave woman, this Hagar, who, by the way, happened to be an Egyptian. This was a Egyptian, right? This is the Imhotep that we all know. By the way, research, don't believe me, look this up. Hagar, this Egyptian woman, was raped, named Ishmael. This is history. And when this took place, Ishmaelite was born speaking part Egyptian language, right, and part Persian Chaldean, which is the language that Abraham spoke. So what happened was it created a new dialect. Why? Because the mother of this little boy, and she started to teach him the language of his father. So now, guess what? Arab rape took place. This is why I said we really have to look at history. It's not about language family. When you look at history, languages, you have the Persian Chaldean language family, which is not Bantu. You're talking about Asiatic languages, and this is where the misunderstanding is. Asiatic language. Egyptian is not an Asiatic language, but guess what? Asiatic. When did this happen? This very first dynasty with Narmer, as I was stating earlier, who we think is Egypt, and they brought in foreign concepts, and they brought in foreign languages, Asiatic languages, Chaldean, right, and from the East, and they corrupted Egypt. You know what I'm saying? And then, as I stated earlier, speak about Arabian language, or let's say, when we speak about Sabian, again, we're speaking about, when you look up at Sabian, found in Ethiopia. You see what I'm saying? It's geographically found in a place that's called, or they say the land of Sheba in Hebrew, but it was called the land of Saba. It was called the inhabitants. This is a specific tribe of people, right, before they set up and migrated up the Nile, a specific tribe of Napatown south and over into Arabia, and set up the land of Saba. This is a specific set of track to start. You see what I'm saying?
Can you spell the Sabian language for me? Can you spell it for me?
Yeah. So we spell it as N, it's just EAN, it's just a suffix, but they will spell it SABAIC, or they will. It's multiple spellings. I'm gonna give them all to you because, like I said, it's a variant. They'll spell it multiple different ways. SABEAN, spelling Sabah, because this was the name of the land. It was called the land of Sabah. The high sciences of ancient Egypt originated, because we're talking about below Nubia, in the land of Napata, before they migrated up the Nile. We have to stop looking at Cairo. You see what I'm saying? Because the origin of you have to go further south down the Nile, and as you do that, you reach places like Nubia, then you reach Napata, right, and then you reach even further back, which became Arabia. So basically, as I stated earlier, you had these mixed seed of people who came from Mesopotamia, and they came into Ethiopia corrupt. We're talking about Arab. raping Africans and corrupting and taking and stealing the language of Africans and corrupting the cultural traditions of African tribes. And now when we look at that, what has always been, and that's not the case. That's why I said we have to look at what took place historically.
So are you familiar with NAP, not NAPTA, but NAPTA plot? Familiar with
that? That's right. That are observatories. That's what I'm saying that these Sabians, right, these Napataeans or these Nuwappians, let's say Napatians, because when we say Nuwappians, you're talking about the same group of people who migrated up the Nile one stop in Napata, and they were called Napatians. The rest of them continue to go up and stop in Nubia, and they were called the Nubians. The rest of them but it's the same historically. The Sabians, the Napatians, the people of Napta Playa, that are the same people. So Napta Playa is where we set up the Sabakat, which is in our language means stars. So the Sabians set up Napta Playa. You're talking about up the Nile, who brought the sciences from South Africa originally and began to drop off different pieces of these. Everything is in Cairo. Matter of fact, if you look up ancient Egypt, the whole priesthood of Amun came from Nubia and from Napta Playa. And from the pharaohs of ancient Egypt had to go down south. They had to go to Nubia and Ethiopia in order to perform certain rituals. Is not in Cairo. It's in Nubia. It's in the south.
Well, I like to interject there because even whenever you deal with Egypt or Kemet, just like all the great scholars said, the mother of Egypt is Ethiopia, which is what the Greeks call it, but the original name for it is Kush. And even when you talk about the people that say the megalith structures, like you're right, brother on the back, they are star observatories. And it's all as Europe, like Stonehenge, all of that. Got the same structure in the same building, just like Napta Playa. And that's all based into the Nile Valley, but also went into other parts of the world, went east, went west, and all that is Cushitic family. And you're right, brother, all that does encompasses Nubia. So whenever they needed help, whenever they were being bombarded by invaders, they always went home for assistance, and that assistance out of Kush. And if you even listen, even anybody tell you that, even white historians will tell you that Europe ever had was Herodotus. And Herodotus would even say itself that Egypt was, that's just not that's also a geographical term, and that's a cultural term too, and an ethnic term. Original, the old Egyptian dynasty. As time went on, like you said, foreigners did come. Yes, Asiatics came. They the late conquerors, so they're the ones who remained at this day. But yeah, I believe that. But like you said, it all goes back to church again. I'm not going to argue with anybody. Everybody makes some valid points. But either way, we're still dealing with an African people, an old African. Called Ethiopia, bottom of Egypt. That's not the case. The Kushite Empire is from Egypt. Pyramids in Kush are older than Egypt. Because pharaohs from Egypt, the high scientists from Egypt, like you said, brother, did.
That's right. That's
brother,
right.
but
so
I'm sorry.
Hey, brother,
I'm learning. I'm new in the Nuwappians. I'm new into my elders Remetsu. I want brother Remetsu, you there?
I'm here.
I want to know, do you think the master teacher, which I think he is the master teacher, I know he's the master teacher, Dr. Malachi York, is still writing?
Say it again.
Did he mention sit there? Brother,
I'm still here.
Brother Nabat.
I'm listening to you, brother. I hear exactly what you're saying.
I'm Nuwappian myself, my elder, Remetsu. And I want to know, do you think he mentioned the word Savior? I think he mentioned the word Savior back then,
Are you asking
me? Let me walk.
Are you asking me or brother?
I'm asking Brother Nabat.
You asking?
Brother Nabat, you. Y'all hear me? Brother in the back.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
I will ask you, do you think the master teacher still writing books on scrolls?
So I don't just right, because I don't want none of y'all to believe me. I want you to question me so I can prove it to you. You see what I'm saying? But I don't want to throw off the whole thing. If y'all want, I can prove that whole thing to you right now. I can show you. Hold on. One second. I can show you in scrolls, right? I can show you in scrolls and books. Old books. I'm talking about when the master teacher was free. Even back, check this out. The very first book, right? 9 Ball, was speaking about the Ethiopians, right? He was speaking about the Ethiopians, right? Not only that, I can show you in the Holy Tablets. I can show you in multiple books where the master teacher mentioned.
I ask you a question, brother? I just want to ask you one question. Because I hear what you're saying. Because I hear what you're saying. But I just want to ask you one question. How old are you?
Well, let's. Why does that matter? I'm 9. I'm 9. If that's if that's what matters.
I'm just asking your question, brother. How old are you?
I'm 29.
Okay. So would it be safe to say that you've never met the
No,
master
it
teacher?
actually wouldn't. I actually met the master teacher before I was born. But if
No,
you're talking about physically.
No, I'm talking about have you ever met the master teacher physically?
I'm letting you know I'm a different type. I'm not the same as one of his students, and I had to be, tablik to. I'm not one of them. I was born. You see what I'm saying? My soul, my spirit was sent to this planet for this. You see what I'm saying? So I have a different connection with the master teacher than most. But to answer your question, I have not met him physically.
Because in Nuwappo, right? In Nuwappo, we deal with the science of sound right reasoning, right? So things have to be weighed, by effect. Now, I walk with Imam Isa and Hadi al-Mahdi, who became known as Malachi Ziyar, right? Now, and I was a part of his inner circle, Bushwick Avenue, 717, 33 Lord, 505 Hart Street. When we stayed in on Sundays from Bushwick Avenue Hall of Knowledge. So what I'm saying to you is this, right? Is this. The question that brother just asked you, he asked you, do you think that the master teacher is still writing those books? Okay, so let me answer the question for you. Okay, now, do you know what he's locked up for? Do you know what he's locked up for, brother?
I sense that this is kind of going in a direction that to answer your question, yes, but I first you said that you wanted to answer the question, so I want to allow you to answer the question from your perspective. But I do also want to answer the brother's question.
It's no debate, man. We just ask a question, man.
We're not debating, brother, and I wouldn't go there like that. And that you bear witness. Then the master teacher, changed my life, and I bear witness to, Malachi Ziyar. Okay, so now the one, you have to realize from dealing with Nuwappo, right? There have been organizations that the CIA and the FBI have always tried to infiltrate. We're talking about the fear of a black messiah. So we know that there have been infiltrators in a lot of our organizations. I mean, the person who gave Malcolm mouth-to-mouth resuscitation was a New York City police officer that was his bodyguard, but nobody knew that at that time. You understand? He had infiltrated, to that degree. So we know there have been people who have been in our organization that have, infiltrated the organization. We know that. So listen to this. See, so now I know that he is locked up on a RICO charge. A RICO charge. You understand? The Mann Act, which is a federal charge. So that means under RICO status, he cannot have any connection with the people of the organization that he's in jail for. You understand? In other words, if they lock me up, because I was hanging out with y'all under RICO status, while I'm locked up, I can't have no association with you or anybody that was from that particular organization. I can't do that. That's RICO Act. And I'm just saying, that's federal law, brother. That's federal law. So when people are saying that he's still writing books, I would, I'm dealing with Nuwappo now. Science of sound right reason. We're talking about evidence. We're talking about, weighing. You have to show me how the master teacher has gotten around, the fact that, he's still writing these books. Because if he's still writing these books, I know personally, because any old timer, would know me. And one thing I can tell you is this, brother. Right? See, we know that he told us, and it's in various books, that he was born in the Sudan. He was born in the Sudan, and his name was El-Hajj El-Imam Isa. And as he went through the various different schools, the last school was the school of Nuwappo, and the name that he used is Malachi Ziyar. That was the last school. So now, if that's his name, right? That's his name, and he was born in the Sudan, right? 1945. Right, June 26th. That's when he was born. So I ask you, my brother, explain to me how his name changed to Malachi Zodek York, and that he was born in Ghana. Show me that, brother. That's what I'm asking you, because that's what we deal with. We deal with right knowledge, right? So show me, brother, where he was born in Ghana, right? And his name is Malachi Zodek York. That's what I'm asking you, brother. Show that to me.
So let me start with fact one. When we speak about being born in the Sudan, you have to be mindful that back in 1945, Sudan did not just include the demarcated lines that we look at today.
Wait, say that again. I didn't hear you, brother.
Let me. Yeah, so I'm saying that when we speak about the Sudan, the master teacher understood this, that when he said that he was born in the Sudan in 1945, we have to understand that the Sudan did not just include the demarcated lines that we now associate, which did not take place until I think like after 1954 or such, right? When the Sudan, as we know it today, established on the map with the demarcated lines that we now know. Before then, the Sudan, which included much more vast territory, which came further west toward Ghana. And I don't want you to look at or think what I'm saying is semantics. I want you to research and look this up. Look at maps. Look at a map. Just all you got to do is just pull it up. Google it right now on your phone.
Brother, listen.
Let me finish responding to your question, because you're not allowing me. You see what I'm saying?
Brother.
You brought up a number of different points. You brought up a number of different points, and I have to address it. If you don't allow me to address it,
brother, go ahead and address it. I'm not speaking. I'm waiting for you to finish, brother.
Right. Okay. I'm just trying to walk with you here, but you dropping a lot on me. It's not that I can't handle it. It's just that I understand where you're coming from, but I have done this research myself.
Brother, finish saying what you're saying, brother. I don't want you to, not say what you're saying. Get finish it, brother. I'm listening to you. I'm all ears.
So Dr. Malachi York was born 1945, June 26 at 12 a.m. in Takoradi, Ghana, right? In a government hospital. Dr. Malachi York, at the time when he was teaching, did not know, right, that they changed the demarcation lines and included and wiped away the vast territory that included Sudan. As I stated, back in 1945, came all the way down to Ghana. You understand? So when his mother told him, you were born in the Sudan, she was telling him a truth that she knew from her time, which is that this did not just include what we know as the Sudan when we look at the map today. We're looking at those demarcated lines that did not get created and put on the map until after 1950. You see what I'm saying? So Dr. Malachi York grew up being taught that he was born in the Sudan, which historically is true, because we'll find out historically that all of Africa at one time was known as Sudan. And that's another point. Also, you said that he's not writing these books, right? But because that's the major point that I need to address is Dr. Malachi York writing these books? And how can he be writing these books and be associated with a type of organization who he was associated with when the RICO charge took place? How is that sound right reason, right? Right? What we need to establish and understand is that since Malachi York, our master teacher, has been incarcerated, he has written thousands, not books, thousands of letters. We're talking, he never stopped writing. And how do we know this? And you can dispute this a number of different ways. People will come up and say, well, that's not his voice. But we've heard the phone calls of numbers of phone calls of the master teacher validating him actually writing the scrolls that are now coming out being called Patarak, meaning he actually said it out of his mouth. Not only that, we recently heard a phone call. I'm talking about over the last 2 months. We are the only ones who are in contact with Dr. Malachi Zero. Everyone who's disputing and saying he's not writing these books have no contact with him, but we can play you audio tape of you hearing his voice recent. Y'all can't show us anything, but I can show you his voice and let you hear it with over the last few months of him validating and telling us, yes, I told y'all, I came giving you what you wanted until you would learn to want what I came to give. But y'all never learned it. You thought that Nuwappians was the end all be all, but you don't even, can you tell me one thing? Can you tell me what the 3 degrees of Nuwappians is? Which you can say Asunupu, Wunupu, and Abanupu, but can you tell me what those 3 degrees mean? Can you break it down to me? No, you can't, because the master teacher never revealed those things. It was not, you see what I'm saying? He only came giving us pieces and learn to want what he came to give. So I'm not disputing. Your intentions is very good in questioning the validity, especially the COINTELPRO point that you brought up. Yes, there are COINTELPRO elements within the nation today. Yes, there are divide and conquer elements within the nation today, right? We see that. Even myself, I can admit to that. But is Sabian one of them? No. Is the books being put out now one of them? Absolutely not. How can I validate that again? By way of the master teacher himself, because we don't accept any book that just comes out and say, well, just because New York put it out and just because he once trusted these people, so therefore we're going to. That's not sound right reason. And I'm not telling you to accept it that way. I'm telling you to question it and then pull my card. And like I said, I'll let you listen to the tape. I'll let you listen to the multiple audio tapes where he's saying Sabians. But you can't show me no recent audio tapes when he's saying Nuwappians no more. You can't show me anything, but I can show you. Now, what's more, Sam? And I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking directly to you, Elder. I'm only, you know, nigga, I love you. I'm just talking about, I've heard many different claims. There's people who say Malachi York isn't in prison. They'll say Malachi, some people say he's not even in prison. You can't prove to me he's in prison. And then some people say, well, you can't prove that's him on the phone call. That can be an imposter with a voice changer that sound like Dr. Malachi York. I'm saying, well, you know, these people literally come. They're going off the wall with these concepts when they're not using what he told them to use from the beginning. Sound, right reasoning. Sound meaning unshakable. Right meaning factual. Reason meaning your ability to reason out the facts in your own mind with 3 points, right? Experience, evidence, and reason. You don't necessarily have to prove everything by way of experience, right? You can either experience it, right? You can reason it out, or you can have the evidence. If I can present to you the audio tapes and you deny it, I can't help that. You see what I'm saying? If I present to you reason and you deny it, I can't help that. You see what I'm saying? If you turn down all of these things, then you're simply not using your own faculties. And that's what I think a lot of these people who deny what's taking place right now, they're using the faculty of ignorance, which is ignoring the facts. We're not telling you to believe us. We're telling you to come and challenge us so that we can show you the fact. But don't turn your back on Sabian. Don't turn your back on the scrolls without ever having picked one up and reading it, because what would that be other than ignorance? You're turning your back and saying, I'm not going to pick that book up and disprove it to show that it's false. I'm going to turn my back and ignore it. And then I'm just going to say that he didn't write that. That's what people are doing. We're telling you to challenge it. If you're one of his students, pick it up like you did the Nation of Islam and the Circle 7 book and all the rest of those lessons. Pick these up, pick this up and prove it wrong and show that it came from New York. You can't do it. Why? Because it's factual. It's sound. You see what I'm saying? And again, this ain't dealing with belief. It's facts. We're not telling y'all believe in, and again, don't think I'm talking directly to you, Elder, because I'm not. You know what I'm saying? This is real passion.
I think I got kicked off the line. Hello?
Okay. I can hear you.
You still there, brother?
Sir.
Okay, yeah, I think we got disconnected.
Okay.
Let me. I didn't really hear a lot of what you said. I just came back on. But let me just say this to you, brother. Okay. Now, as far as the demarcated lines you're talking about, I want you to go back and you read the book. Let's set the record straight. And what I want you to realize is this, right? See, when we talk about Imam Isa said that he is the great grandson of El Mahdi. We call him Muhammad Ahmed El Mahdi, who came out of the Sudan, right? Who came out of Durman. Durman, right, is where the junction of the two Niles meet. That's the heart of the Sudan. Now he also had a grandson named Saeed Sadiq. Now Saeed Sadiq was the prime minister of Sudan, and I was in the mosque. I was in the mosque, and I can prove this to you, brother, with brothers who from the old school who know me as Abdulaziz Boxer. I was sitting in the mosque when Saeed Sadiq came to Bushwick Avenue, came down in the mosque with us, and bore witness to who El Haj El Imam Isa was at that time. Right? So now I know from confirmation, being in the mosque, and there were other people in there who witnessed Saeed Sadiq, who was the known prime minister of the Sudan, sat in that mosque and called him, Imam Isa, his cousin. There's old books with him, with the two of them and sitting in the garden, smiling together. There's old books. So that's number one. So we know that he was born in the Sudan, not in the West Africa, but I'm talking about in where the two Niles, the Sun, right, what they call the Blue Nile and the White Nile, the Pison and the Blue Nile. So now we know that that's a fact. I'm gonna tell you another fact, right? They got what they call voice changing software. They've had this for years. You can morph a person's voice. You could morph a person's voice in real time. Now there was a tape going around, right? This was a few years ago. Matter of fact, I would say almost 10 years ago, there was a tape going around that was put out by some people who were saying that this is the old man, this is Baba, talking from prison. Now, if you listen to the tape, you might get confused, and you might say that that's the old man. But understand this, my brother, right? I was a part of the Passion family. That meant I was in his house almost every day. We had rehearsals at his house almost every day. I sat at the table listening to him. I'm talking about 2 feet away from him, and I know his voice. I know his voice very well. I've been around him for years. That tape that they put out was more. It was not his voice. And I'm telling you because Nuwappo is talking about experience. I was there. I have the experience. I listened to his voice. I know what his tone sounds like, and I know that what they put out was more. It wasn't his voice. So the question would be, why would they put out a more, version of his voice? Because they're trying to change a narrative and have people think that he's delivering a particular message. Now, you may not believe that, brother. You may not believe that, and it's okay. I'm just saying, my experience tells me that the voice that I heard, right, was more. It wasn't his voice. I know his voice. Now you could play that with somebody else that may not understand his voice per se, but can't run that with me, And I'm just talking about, we're talking about the Nuwappo. Science is sound, right reasoning, brother. That's what I'm saying. And I don't want to, I don't want to seem like, we're debating, we're going back and forth. I'm just giving you something to look at, man. What I know. And when you talk about the demarcation lines, like I said, I'm talking about a specific location. I'm talking about Durman. That's where he said. That's where he said. He said he was born in Durman, and that is the junction of the two Niles. That is not in West Africa. That is nowhere near Gambia, nowhere near Nigeria, nowhere near Ghana. Nowhere near that, brother. We're talking about the junction of the two Niles. That's what we're talking about. So now, somewhere in there, somebody, they had an elaborate, plan for whatever the reason, to continue on in a doctrine that he wouldn't even agree with. So now I would ask the simple question, show me, when did he change the location of his birth? Because it's always from 1967, when we were Ansar pure Sufi. We was Ansar pure Sufi, and we was running around with bones in our ears, right? And we had black fezzes during that time. That was our dress. You know, African gailies, dashikis. That was the dress. Show me. Because we're talking about from that time period, brother, from that time period, it was always acknowledged, you know, that he was born in the Sunni. And by the way, Sheikh Dawood, who came out of State Street, you know, which is the first Islamic Muslim mission, you know, in Brooklyn that came out in the 40s, right? He came out Idul Fitra every year. He bore witness to where Malachi comes from. And he's in the book Sheikh Dawood versus the computer. That's where he talks about Fard Muhammad. When Sheikh Dawood came out Idul Fitra every year. He bear witness to where Malachi comes from. I'm talking about experience now, bro. I'm not talking about what I read in the book. I ain't talking about what I read in the book. I'm talking about what I actually witnessed. And I listen, I understand, and I understand, you know, the voice of Malachi. I recognize the voice of Malachi. Like I said, any of the old timers, you ask them, who's Abdulaziz Boxer? And you know, so you can spread that around. Who's Abdulaziz Boxer? What was his function while he was in the mosque? He was the choreographer for the group Passion that Malachi sung in. He did the special effect lighting, him and Big Issach. We was at his house every night, brother, rehearsing. Certainly I know the man's voice. And like I said, that tape that it came out with was not his voice. It was close. It was a good copy. I give it to him now. Whoever did that, it was a good copy. But nah, my intonation is real keen. That wasn't his voice at all. So the question for me was why would you morph his voice? Why would you do that and spread it to the people? Because there's a plan going on. There's a plan going on, brother. And I don't want to get into the plan over the airwaves. Because I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to debate with you, brother, but I want to give you some information if you really want to get it. If you really want to get it, I can give it to you. But well, I don't want to do that.
I'm gonna intervene right. I want to intervene right now because you and the brother. It seems like we might need to set up a show with you and the brother to let y'all discuss, or y'all may want to have a conversation offline. You know, so it ain't out to the public. Maybe I want to have a conversation offline. You know, to maybe you know what I'm saying.
We can do that. I give you my number, brother. Ain't no problem.
Yeah, I just wanted to play something real quick.
Okay.
Just for the people, the people who may be asking, well, what exactly is he talking about? That has been morphed. I want y'all to listen to this, and then I want y'all to just look up other tapes of Dr. Malachi Ziyar, because his voice changes over time. Plus the fact that he's suffering from angioedema, which causes the throat to swell up. But I want people to just listen to this for a second, and then do your own research and determine for yourself if this is fake. I hear it?
No, we can't hear it, bro.
All right, now I don't know. What I'll do is I'll post a link inside the chat for the family.
What I would say is, you know, y'all can. It was a good discussion. Y'all can. I think that you know, this is something that y'all may want to discuss. You know, I feel like it's taking a luster away from this show right now because I see like this is a conversation that needs to be had. Now, if y'all want to come on the show and do it, I'll let y'all come do it all day. I don't mind. Listen, I'm up all night. You know what I'm saying? But you know, I'm up. Like, if y'all really want to, y'all can do it right now. But I did want to get back to some stuff.
Well, let's go back to the topic.
Do it now, man. Do it now. Good.
Never pull me into this conversation.
I know. Neb, when Neb asked the first question, I already knew where it was going.
Yeah.
He asked because I heard of the Sabian stuff before, so but I have never researched it. But I just want to put this nugget out there. 'Cause when I said NAFTA plier, I think I think y'all took it with NAFTA, the NA NAFTA, and we're talking about two different time frames, because the NAFTA plier that I'm speaking about was when the Sahara was flush. It wasn't no desert. Now, what Ricky mentioned was the Stoneheads. That's around the same time. The Stoneheads. That's around the same time. But I'm very familiar with NAFTA, the NABTA plier. I'm very familiar with that because it's a book, The Black Genesis, the Prehistoric, the Origins of Egypt, by Robert Duvall. He wrote about NAFTA plier and how when the Sahara was flush, it wasn't a desert. And he talked about. Say that again.
No, I was saying, at one time, it was like a forest, it was greenery, it was and so it got flooded out. That's why at the base of the Herm Akhet, what they call the Sphinx, you have water corrosion on the bottom. You know what I mean? Because it flooded out at one time. But prior to that, you're right, absolutely right. It was like a greenery.
This is during the time of the plier that I'm speaking about. So I don't know. I don't know if the time period that Brother Nabat was speaking about is the same as, because you have a NAPTA with a P, NAPATA plier, then you had the NABTA plier, and the one I'm talking about, it predates the one. But in the time period that I studied, I never heard no Sabian. Like this is new. It's very new.
It is.
That's all it's new to me.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say.
Yeah, well, that's what I was just trying to say. If you look it up in ancient Egypt, you'll find it on the wall. And what you'll see is a stargate, right, which is a determinative of a door. And this in the tones of ancient Egypt was pronounced Sabah, right? And it's dealt with the sciences of NAPTA plier, where they were tracking certain star systems, and also certain rituals were performed in ancient Egypt, where they had the opening of the mouth ceremony, where the soul of a pharaoh, his soul was directed towards certain star systems. But in order for this process, certain stargates, and this, like I said, in certain ancient Egypt, it was represented as the symbol of a doorway. You see what I'm saying? And also, you have the people who practiced this particular science. They were called Saba'u or Sabatu. This is in ancient Egypt. You actually see the determinative.
So is you talking about old ancient Egypt, middle ancient Egypt, or late? When you talking about, because you said it was reintroduced in the 18th dynasty.
That's right.
Now we understand in the ancient Egyptian, like the languages, 18th dynasty is not old Egyptian.
So what I'm talking about specifically, I'm talking about the sciences which predate dynastic Egypt. So, but also, like I said, the references can be found throughout dynastic Egypt, because the pharaohs of, let's say, the pharaohs of Upper Egypt, who ruled Upper Egypt, also had to depend upon, they had to come down south to perform certain rituals. And those rituals had to be performed by the priesthood of Amun, who a certain faction called Saba'u. That faction of the priests of Amun were called Saba'u, and that's found on the walls of ancient Kemet. So we find not just in dynastic period, but originally in pre-dynastic.
So it's sources for the pre-dynastic? I mean, listen, I understand the South. I know that everything came from the South. That's not a question. It's the Saba. It's this name that you're telling me that. So what I'm asking you is, when you say you can find it in the walls, is this old Egyptian, middle Egyptian, late Egyptian? What time?
Well, that's like I said, there is no one. I think the oldest reference that you can find in dynastic Egypt would be middle late Egyptian, which is again around the 18th dynasty.
Okay, so but you said dynastic. You have some sources where you can find it in pre-dynastic also.
Well, that would be if you're okay. You're confusing it, because in pre-dynastic Egypt, you don't have hieroglyphs in the same way that you do. But what you do have is the culture. So check this out. If you go to Arabia, right, you know that Stargate that I just told you is found in the hieroglyphs of dynastic Egypt, found in the Middle Late period. It's also found in Arabia, you don't see hieroglyphs in Arabia, but you see the culture. You see this. You see the monuments, the sculptures, and let's say the artifacts of the Sabians that occupied that land before Arabs took over and called it Arabia, you find many old manuscripts in Sabian script which depict the same doorway, right? The same, but it's an actual doorway, like a false door that's depicted there. Many of these false doors depicted there in Arabia, which you'll find linked to the culture of the people, the indigenous people of that land. Again, the ancestors of the ancient Egyptians, which link these particular doorways to stargates, where they would perform rituals. You see what I'm saying? And the same culture move up the Nile into Napata and move further up the Nile into Nubia, where the priesthood of Amun were utilized by the pharaohs. You see what I'm saying? To perform these very same rituals. You see what I'm saying? But it's manners. So people may say, well, how can I find that? You're not going to find it in one. You're not going to find like hieroglyphs in multiple different tribes that depict the same thing.
But you can,
you see what I'm saying? Because that's not how Egypt.
But you can find hieroglyphs in South Africa. They in South Africa.
Oh yeah.
You have hieroglyphs.
Let me. Can I just add something to that? If you read E.A. Budge, right? He has a book called The Book of Gates, because that's one of the books coming from ancient Kemet, right? But if you read Budge, right, in the 14th chapter, it's called The Gate of Sebi, S-E-B-I, and Rafi, R-E-R-I, right? These are two gates. So I don't know if you're talking about
that's
that
right.
as being Sebi or Sabian, but this gate
that's the same. That's right. That's exactly what we're saying. We're saying that what you're saying right now, I have the very same book. I researched the very same thing. And that's why I said we all can research these things. It's not just about E.A. Wallace Budge. We all can research our symbols, but we can link it to certain African languages. So we'll find that in most African languages, all right, just look up the number 7 in most African languages, and I guarantee you'll come up with the two consonants. Esed, Saba, some pronounce Seb, right? We said, and then you also have we say in our language Sabu, which means
but that's like Aramaic. When you speak in Aramaic or Hebrew, you say Wahed is one. Wahed Ithnain, Velata, Alphabet, Hamza is 5, Sita is 6.
That's exactly. No, guess what? What we're trying to say is that all of those languages came from the Sabian language. That's what we're trying to say. Which guess what? Guess what? Is the ancient Egyptian language. That's what we're trying to learn during the 18th dynasty with Queen Hatshepsut, who was from Ethiopia, because she was not from Upper Egypt. She was from the south. You see what I'm saying? And the ancient culture and ancient language of the people. Don't believe what I'm saying. This is something that Dr. Malachi York has reestablished. And so Hebrew, right, and Aramaic and Arabic are children tongues from the Sabian language. You can literally look this up. Look up the origin and etymology of Aramaic and where it really came from. They will tell you it is an old South Arabian language. And then click on that old South Arabian and you'll see the Sabian script. And then research that.
There was
and they'll tell you.
There was a person named Saber. So I mean,
that's right.
Person
that's
named
right.
Saber. So naturally, he spoke a language, a dialect of a language that people refer to as Sabian. I mean, I get that. I get that.
And we're just trying to say that the master teacher, Dr. Malachi York, has been walking us back throughout time. He has taken us from just Cairo and just dynastic Egypt. And then he says, no, I'm going to take you back to Nubia. Then he says, I'm going to take you back to Napata and your Nuwappians. Then he says, I'm taking you further back down the Nile. He's taking us back throughout history to show us how we got to ancient Egypt. But he's taking us step by step. And we have to include the Ethiopians, amongst whom are the Sabians. When we speak about Cushites, the Cush people, those are another tribe which contributed to ancient Egypt. The Napatians contributed to ancient Egypt. The Sabians contributed to ancient Egypt, but they're all the very same people who just simply broke off in different directions. You see what I'm saying? And as they broke off into different directions in Africa, they came into different environments. As I stated, like the Bantu people came and included that. You see what I'm saying? Into their culture and into their tongue, because this is how we lived in ancient times. We were in tune with nature to that degree. You see what I'm saying? To that very degree.
Basically saying the same thing you said, Stuart, with nature and the tree and stuff. You know what I'm saying? I don't know about the baboon stuff. Come from a monkey, but he's basically saying the same thing you say. Your theory.
pantheists, dealing with pantheism.
we as Sabians, we deal with animism. In ancient Egypt, we were animists, or let's say that is the best terminology that can be used to describe what we practice. But even that still doesn't encompass, but it does do well to explain or give an understanding as far as what we practice. Animism, which is the understanding that all things in the universe vibrate. You see what I'm saying? Everyone, they say everything has soul, everything has ba, everything has, or let's say more specifically, everything has ka, or spirit, spiritual energy in which it vibrates. You see what I'm saying? And understanding, like, for example, the sun, the water, the wind, and all of these different elements of the universe, being in tune with them, we could elevate our self-conscious one with these forces to the point where we can control these forces. That's animism.
Cam, what you say, Cam? You don't come for
Yeah,
no.
man, he's saying it's the same thing we all agree with, except the damn monkey. You know, right? I think evolution, brothers. I think it's up to them. They the monkeys, not you know what I'm saying? We ain't born no damn monkey, man. Not us. We gods. Come on, bro. I don't believe we from the damn planet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, who teaches we come from monkeys?
Some of us come from other star continents.
That's just we're
us Sabians, we're from this planet, bro. We don't damn ape. We no monkey.
Exactly. Wait, who
yeah, you might say Stuart. Come on, Stuart.
I believe that. I don't care.
Well, I think that evolution is definitely true. It's just that,
and I stand on it to the point of evolving, meaning becoming the God within, and not. So people keep saying, "Well, we're perfect human." Now we are evolving, becoming the God that's within us that we're meant to be, and that's.
So you know they say that that when man when the fish of the sea began to become mammals and walk on the planet, they say man they call him Homo habilis, and they say Homo habilis walked the planet for millions of years with no real alteration until somehow he morphed into a Homo erectus. I'm sorry, from Homo habilis to Homo erectus, and then for millions of years Homo erectus walked the planet, and then out of nowhere, Homo sapien came out. When you compare Homo erectus, Homo habilis to Homo sapien, then you would have to come to the conclusion that, and if he didn't come to the planet, then he didn't come by an evolutionary process. Even though in the Nuwappians, right, we talk of creation, but not from an evolutionary process.
So now you said that Homo sapiens. They already have traced where the Homo sapiens, the bones of the cave, where they started transforming from Homo erectus until Homo sapiens found.
Let me address that.
Hold on. Let me finish. So with this coming from stardust, coming from another planet. See, when you start now, if you're gonna tell me, and this is just my personal opinion, right. If you're gonna tell me that you don't believe that our genome with the great apes and knowing where our body parts are, where our heart is, where our lung is, compared the same, and all our vital organs are in the same spots now, but connection to the great apes. But we came from another planet, and when we came to this planet, somehow the great vital organs were all lined in the same manner. So in other words, you're saying that.
No,
but Kenneth, man, it shows you. It tells you.
Hold up, brother. Let me finish. So either you're telling me that the great apes came from us when we came from outer space, from another planet to this planet, or either we came from an outer space to a planet where great apes have 98 organs, are in the identical same spot as us from another planet.
Right.
That's what you have to be
telling
me.
That's not what I'm saying.
Go ahead.
What I'm saying is, when you look at the Great Pyramid on Giza, right, you'll find out that there's two chambers, right? One is the king's chamber, one is the queen's chamber. Orion, the star system Orion. The queen's chamber points to Setu or Sirius, right, in the east, the eastern star. Now, when you study the Dogon from Mali, the Dogon for hundreds of years knew about the dwarf planet called Sirius B. The only way you could see Sirius B is through a telescope. when the Europeans came and they questioned these Dogons in Mali, and mind you, the Dogons are a tribe of priests that came from one of the 42 nomes in Kemet. So now they knew that star system was there. These are so-called primitive people, according to the writers who wrote the book, The Serious Mysteries. So when they came and they asked them, they said, well, how did y'all know that star system was there without a microphone, or without a telescope? So they just found this out like maybe 70 years ago. But prior to that, the Dogon knew.
I'm very familiar with the story.
What's that?
I'm very familiar with the story.
So then tell me, how did they know?
Easy. Just like you said that they used to study the stars for 26,000 years so they can understand the rotation of the stars and understanding the seasons. Most likely, this Sirius star that they can see, that they already knew about, it was in a position that they was able to see one time.
They couldn't see it. They couldn't see it.
Just like right now, when okay, just like right now, we say that right now we say that we're going into new ages. And how did they mark the zodiac? Because obviously they studied the stars.
I'm not talking about that, Stuart. What I'm saying is this, right? What I'm saying is that when they asked these people, how did they know? This is what they told them, and you can read it in a book called The Serious Mysteries. They told them that their ancestors came from beyond the stars. From the they came from beyond the stars. When they were coming into this dimension, they passed it. So they knew that star was there because they passed it. It had an eyewitness account. So they knew it was there. That's my point, Stuart. With no speculation. They knew it was there. They saw it.
So they said they passed it. Great.
They passed it. Yes,
I'm not challenging that. I'm not. But you cannot tell me the similarity between us and Great Apes. And the fact that language in itself, the Bantu language, they started with the sounds and vowels. All of it started with the tree because of the connection that they have with longer staying in the tree like their cousins did. So now, I mean, all this has to go away.
Let me speak to that. Hold on. Our master teacher, Dr. Malachi York, taught us onto something, because Dr. Malachi York has taught us that historically, in fact, we were seated here 19 million years ago, and that we were placed right as bacteria from another star system, and that we evolved on this planet out of the waters. Years. Evolution did take place, and we evolved onto land, walking onto land, but we eventually, for a very long time, we were in trees, and we had to come down out of the trees because we could not survive. Speaking about historically, evolutionarily, we evolved out of the waters. All life comes from water.
Malachi.
Let me are correct. But the point and the pieces that the master teacher has been putting in trying to piece together for us is that we were seated specifically Orion star system. We came from Orion through the Sirius star system, and then here onto Earth, and evolved as seas for a very long time. And we had to evolve out to be able to walk on land and survive on land, but really by way of tsunamis. You see what I'm saying? And that many of us died, only a certain number of our species only survived by way of living in trees. And again, we're talking millions of years of evolution. We're not talking about something.
When you look at the holy tablets, right? Revelation was called original or primary creation. This is where you have subatomic particles existing for millions of years, and then we have what we call the second creation, was called evolutionary or secondary creation. Evolutionary is where the first single cell animal called the amoeba, and then the protozoa, and so on and so forth. And then we get what they call a ghostational or Tartarian creation. These are all in the holy tablets, right? So now, when we talk about those types of creations, right, then you have to understand that, we're talking about millions of years. I said that earlier when I said that Homo Homo habilis roamed the planet for millions of years. I said that. And I said that they evolved in the Homo habilis. He started walking upright. But then, like I said, out of nowhere, right, came Homo sapien. Not Homo sapien sapien, but Homo sapien, right? Came out of nowhere. But he came from out of now you could say we at one point we called it the 19 galaxy, from the 8th planet of the 19 galaxy called Ilion, and the planet called Ritz. That's what Baba taught. That's what he taught. He taught that in the Holy Quran. I mean in the holy tablets. So now naturally, right? Like, and I said earlier, in the Great Pyramid in Giza, there's 2 shafts. One is pointing to Septu, what they call Sirius, and the other one is pointing to Orion, which is where we get the 3 stars from Orion's belt, where the 3 pyramids on Giza is connected to those 3 stars. So yes, we understood the planetary arrangement in the 18th galaxy, right? Because we're talking about Ilion.
Peace, brother. This Master you. I was able to get back on. I just have a quick question. And this ain't no one. And somebody, if look, please give me the rationale behind this. But I thought I heard a brother say that we came from out of the water, went to the trees, and it got back on walking, I guess, on the earth. From a logical point of view, I don't see how something can come out of the water. It's just logic, and I could be very, very wrong. Again, this is not an attack because I don't know, but I find it very logical for a fish that can breathe underwater to come out of the water, and they can only be able to survive like in a tree. Most mammals that I see that can survive in trees can't survive on land. They may be more comfortable in a tree, like i.e. like certain types of like monkeys or chimpanzees, but they can, you know what I'm saying? But they can survive just as easy on the ground. They may go up in the trees, et cetera, et cetera. But I just find it hard. I find it very, very just scientific. Again, I don't know. I do not know. So I just think this is not an attack, but I don't see how.
So what you
Does that make sense what I'm saying or no?
What you're saying is sound right reason, because that's exactly why he actually explained to us that was the reason. It wasn't that they couldn't survive the threats that they were not adapted to, like many other species. Like for example, in South Africa, you had many other like for example a cheetah. South Africa, very quick, very quick. And living in South Africa, have been living there millions of years to the point where they've adapted to be able to survive in that type of climate. So when they see a cheetah, they also able to run very quickly. We're not adapted to survive the type of predators, and also many other diseases like certain poisonous plants and other things in the environment that may have been on the ground, insects, like scorpions, different things like that. That our earlier species was not necessarily able to adapt to immediately coming out of the water. So all life comes from, we can go back billions of years. We can go back billions of years before there was any life on the surface, and we'll find out that all life was started in water as bacteria, as the elder so eloquently stated. It started from amoeba, right? You had different proteins, bacteria, that formed in the water and into different species, different sea creatures, and evolved into what we know as amphibious creatures, meaning creatures who are able to go on the land and live in the water at the same time. We also developed this ability, but it wasn't developed to the point where, like it is with like a frog. A frog is able to live prolonged on land as well as in the water. We, as I stated, were thrown onto land. Many of our earlier species, like a sea creature, right? Like a mermaid's a merman. Right now, this may sound crazy, but as I stated, we were in the waters. If you spread your hands apart, your fingers apart, you'll notice that you have this flap of skin that inhibits your fingers from completely separating. That flap of skin is literally evolutionary leftover traits from when you were in the waters and were swimming through the waters and were able to literally swim at faster rates because your hands could open up and you had a thick layer of skin, just like most sea creatures are able to use that flap of skin to flap through the water and move at a quicker speed. As well as the fact that when your skin is not moisturized, you get ashy and you literally your scales start to show. So we actually do have an affinity with sea creatures, or let's say reptiles or reptilians, a form of sea creature. And we evolved out onto the water, out onto the land, as I stated, prematurely by way of trees. So many of our ancestors in South Africa, right, who migrated up the Nile, retained a lot of this history and many of the tribes, as the brother stated earlier, the Bantu still retain a lot of this history. It's not a coincidence.
I hear you, man, but I still like no disrespect, man. I don't. If I get action, man, to me that ain't no scales, brother. I mean, it's the homeboy. I'm just action, man. I don't see no scales. But again, I'm not knocking what you're saying because I don't know. And if a tsunami were to knock me on land, and you saying we like mermaids, you could just literally crawl yourself back in the water. Go ahead, if the water ain't too far from you, you can crawl yourself right back over there to the. You can crawl. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny, man. You crawl yourself right back on to the water, and then and again, this is no attack. You would have to have some really crazy arm strength. You coming out of the water, so the skin of your hand having to pull up bark of a tree. You talking about in Africa, you have trees with all type of thorns and stuff on it. So I would rather crawl across all of that to climb up a tree that I have no affinity to than crawl myself right back into the water. To me, I mean, again, this is no attack. To me, that like from a logical point of view, that just seemed like, and I'm not saying all life didn't start with us. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying for me using logic. Right. And maybe I'm the only one thinking this way. Maybe I sound crazy.
No, you using sound right reason. I just
nah.
think you may not be including a lot of the natural and environmental and historical elements that take place. Like, for example, you might be thinking the tsunami. You might be thinking, okay, they only got through a few feet, like on the beach. You know what I mean? Like a fish maybe got through a few feet on the beach, and maybe they flat their way back. It's not a tsunami, brother. There were tsunamis that were taking place thousands of years ago, were throwing thousands of species I'm talking about hundreds of miles onto land, only for the water to quickly recede. You got to understand that many species, many sea creatures died. And this, how can this be proven? How can this be proven? Historically and archaeologically, you can find that in desert environments where water has seashells, they have found skeletons of certain sea creatures which should not exist. I'm talking about on the African continent, by the way, that should not exist that far inland without having to dig down hundreds of feet, meaning they're only digging down 50 feet. That should not exist that far inland in Africa. What this tells us, and geographically they also can prove this, that many species on the surface, on the land, were wiped out completely by way of tsunamis. Right. So many sea creatures were thrown onto land, right? And many died. Why didn't we? Because as I stated earlier, we could survive on land. You see what I'm saying? Amphibious creature means a creature who has the ability to breathe underwater and who has the ability to breathe a less dense form of water called oxygen, called air.
Okay, so let me ask you. So basically, from what you're saying, based off of evolution, if I'm just using evolution,
it's not just
using your. Okay, but I'm saying if I'm using, again, this is no attack. If I'm using your science, the whole point of evolution is to make you better, not to make you worse. Like the whole thing with COVID-19, it's mutating to make these things better. When you like crossing species, you trying to evolve these things to make these things better. And over this course of time, it seemed like we have become weaker in water. We have become more accustomed. I would assume like if I want something to evolve to be able to master something, that it would not be weak. It would not be weak and strong in trees, not to the point to where ape is, or like certain type of monkeys or chimpanzees, or you talking about reptiles or snakes. We are not good. We
reason that out.
We're not. And also, if I go home to Carolina right now, man, I take all the catfish and I throw them all out a mile away from the water. And I'm not trying to be funny. I think all of those catfish be able to evolve and survive on land. Evolution don't happen that quick, bro. It does not. Scientifically, unless from what I know, takes thousands or you know what I'm saying? Takes all this time in order for these things to happen, or you know, like
how many years are you picturing in your mind? I'm talking about millions of years. What are you talking about?
Let me get in here. All right.
And I'm sorry.
So like this is what I want to say. Like certain parts of us is still connected to the water. We still what is it? I don't want to say it wrong, but we have a wow, I just went blank. Not the shark, but in the damn ocean, they got tailbones, man. But like you can still see the evolution part of us with other animals. Even animals. I gotta leave that alone because
don't leave it alone because matter of fact, I'll make one better for you. The very birth of a child, embryo, it exists in a sense now, right? It starts out as what they call semen. Now you might think that's a coincidence, but it's a sperm, which you think that's a coincidence, but this tadpole-looking sperm seeks out a sac called an egg, which is water. It's for 9 months, where this sperm is going through a very short representation of the evolution that took place with within 9 months. If you ever looked up a video of a development of an embryo inside the womb of a woman, inside of that sac of water, right? That embryo is developing from a type of sea creature called a semen, which is amniotic fluid, right? And throughout this process, they call it 3 gestation periods, which represent the 3 major evolutionary stages of our species, from a sea creature, right, to a type of, and then a type of land creature in the 3rd trimester when the child is being born at the 9th month. What is this a representation of? As I stated, the very evolution from being in the water, starting out as sea creatures, semen, right, sperm, semen inside of this sack of water, only to be thrown on land, which is when the child is being born. And what do they say, right? And the child is born. So I just wanted to bring that up, because even in that, it shows this land creatures develop from a process of existing in fluid first. Life exists as a fluid and then becomes a solid. Actually, it starts out as a gas. The master teacher, Dr. Malachi, all life starts with liquid, where we see early life of this planet develop in water first. And then species developed out of that water and became sent to a solid. That's how all evolution takes place. So scientifically, just down to that says that you as a physical being with flesh and bones, a physical was not bones. It wasn't a solid. It was a liquid.
Right.
Fact, right?
What's your egg in the semen, et cetera, but I do know if your sperm don't hit that woman and drop on that floor, that sperm is dead.
It's going to dry up.
You get what I'm saying? So, but I'm not saying that you all are wrong. That's not what I'm saying. So don't take what I'm saying. I'll look it up, bro. I'll read it.
So I mean, I'm not trying to say it's very, as far as evolution, we're not trying to say that that's 100% correct either. But the elder, I don't know if he's still here, but the elder come from outside of this planet. All life comes from outside this planet. Matter of fact, life, you can look this up scientifically as well. Without certain meteorites and meteors crashing down on this
even when you look into the Big Bang, it lets you know that life didn't start here. Even with the the destruction of the star, or the explosion, then it came into this atmosphere. But even Big Bang lets you know it didn't start from here. But I just feel like they have corrupted it to make us think that there's something bad about it. In all actuality, when it's like it's like humans have the same, and like even reptiles. Like I read some stuff about a lot of animal features that we have as humans. And like, so I never say I'm a monkey. That's the thing. People, you a monkey. Ain't nobody saying you're a monkey. Ain't nobody say you come from ape-cedar. They say it's a common ancestor. And I really believe it, man. That's just my belief. I can be wrong. I can do what I'm saying, but just make me see different. I'm not. That's what I believe. And I don't teach you. The great baboon.
Yeah, and that's the fact. And not only that, also our creation story in Egypt tells us that we come from the water. It says that all life started from the waters of Nun and developed into the Azawad. Look it up on the walls of ancient Egypt. They'll show you 4 frog-headed beings and 4 snake-headed beings. The frog-headed beings, the reason why they show you that is because those were amphibians, again, meaning waters and on the land. This is all told and explained in ancient Egypt and reintroduced to us by way of Dr. Malachi York, because Egyptologists don't really have this information. We just think, as far as that creation story, we did come from the waters, and it's explained by way of even the sense.
Hold on, brothers. I got something to say, man. This water thing, man. Hold up, man. Check this out. I want to know if you feel that we're spiritual people, and if we're spiritual people, there's a place where we came other than this water thing that you're talking about. All right. Now, in Egypt, I could have stars. So if we came from the stars, how is we coming from this water?
That's what I was breaking down earlier. So as I was explaining, we had to get back to that story. That's we had to get back to the origin of that story. So how we got into the water, right? Everybody wants to believe that the so-called natural, are just principles, when in fact they're not. These were real beings, right? The stories were symbolic, partially based on real stories, but these beings called natural were our ancestors from the Orion and Sirius star constellation who in the waters. From where? From the Orion star constellation, by way of the Sirius star constellation. Meaning they came from Orion and went to Sirius and performed this experiment explained not just in ancient Egypt, but by way of our master teacher, Baba Yanun, Dr. Malachi York, right? And also in the Dogons. They corroborate, and many other African tribes corroborate this very same story, how they came from the stars. There's millions of years ago, because the DNA of our ancestors from these star systems was inserted into the womb of a dolphin, coincidentally, which did not exist on this planet millions of years ago. The dolphin was also, and we were seeded here as sperma or DNA of our ancestors seeded inside of the womb of these alien dolphins from Orion, right? And these dolphins acted as, let's say, surrogate mothers, so to speak, utilizing panspermia, utilizing these dolphins to transport life from one star system to another, where these dolphins were able to survive, and these life forms, us, were able to be extracted out and survive inside of the seeds of this planet, where we evolved into many different types of years. None of what I'm telling you happened overnight. So although I'm saying it is quick, everything took place in over millions of years. But yes,
the Shabaka stone also deals with this. Now the Shabaka stone talks about the explosion of the star and the particles coming down, but the Shabaka stone and us coming out of the water.
That's a fact.
A good listen, Eric. I mean, true. Go on. A good person to listen to who break this comment, Brother Cobble. Go on YouTube and listen to him break person, and he breaks it down.
Baba Kamini, right?
Yeah, Kamini. Check him out. They talk about what they say our ancestors come from the foothills of the mountain. Like he breaks all that down.
Of the mountain of the moon.
He breaks it all
down. Hey, all this Little Mermaid and Finding Nemo talk about the water.
Finding Nemo talk.
Well, y'all got me done.
I told you he was a sea creature.
That's what, man.
Yeah, that's
hey, man. Right here listening.
It's all pieces to the puzzle, man. You know, so in all as this, let's say the spiritual and historical, traditional, cultural understanding that we were taught. If we understand it, it's really all. So some people thought it was just evolution, right? And then some people thought, oh, we was just seeded here and then go poof. You know, you got people walking around on the land. Although we were seeded here, right? We were here for millions of years. Adamites from 6,000 years ago, Caucasians, they just popped up by way of genetic. Right? But we were seeded here in a natural form, like a seed. You plant a seed. You don't just drop off a new species on a new planet and expect it to survive. That's not natural. They say Nataru. That's not the way they brought us here. You see what I'm saying? Historically, we were taught, we've always been watched by our ancestors, but our science has dealt with animism and being in tune with our ancestors from these other star systems, not by way of technology, again, but by way of, when we cut that off, we literally, it's like we changed the radio station. And those beings from those star systems, your own ancestors, you cut off the radio and foreign gods and stop respecting your own ancestors and picking up foreign languages, right? And when we dropped, that's when we lost our power. We lost our glory. When we dropped our connection with those beings. It's literally like, when you speak about animism, think of a radio, right? Right? This is think of this as a particular radio station. Have you ever noticed that most Nubians, they got us listening to FM? You can't, but as soon as you go to AM, you can't find no Nubians speaking on AM. Is that a coincidence, or had they designed you understand? They understand these sciences, and we are the one who gave it up, even though we still retained it in the church ignorantly, because that power that you see preachers and religious people in the church who are feeding it to foreign gods, but that power is real. You see what I'm saying? I'm not saying all of the, the foaming at the mouth and shaking and all that so-called healing people. That's the connection, that feeling that, certain religious people have. They'll feel a surge of energy go through them because of the connection that they knew and perfected. You see what I'm saying? In ancient times, it was called animism. In ancient Egypt, we were able to channel that energy, and we taught it to other cultures. That's how the Indians got it, called it chi or prana. You know what I'm saying? So we just got to get back to our own ancient sciences and get back in tune with those beings. You see what I'm saying? Stop looking at them like just extraterrestrials and aliens. They are our ancestors.
Bro. I don't know about other people's, but I never seen that ancient ancestors as aliens. Only people that I be thinking that our ancient ancestors are aliens are the people that was brainwashed, you
That's
know.
right. That's right.
And we were spiritual beings, you know. That's what I know of, spiritual beings. And that do, you know what I'm saying, that existence where you would start talking about, you know, where the baby, you know what I'm saying, starts creating itself. And I don't know what you was talking about looking like a fish, but you know, you have, you know what I'm saying, and that grows and it looks like a tadpole. You know what I'm saying? And I don't look at that as being an alien. It's just that you're since you coming out of a spiritual being into the physical being, you know what I'm saying, this is the format of how the head is formed first, you know what I'm saying, and then this tail, which is your backbone, is formed. So, I mean, for the people that just don't understand that, you know, they look at it as maybe a fish or something like that, you know, and stuff like that. And then I can understand you talking about this, you know what I'm saying, we being in the waters, but that's the only water that I think that we was in, not like no sea waters and stuff like that.
I mean, the correlation with the tadpole and the sperm said, when you look at a sperm as it's going and you look at a baby tadpole, I mean, they're very similar. But I'm just saying that should bring more reverence or clarity to the. Now, I don't know about us being put in a dolphin. That now I'm just telling you, I Wapu, or like I said, the teacher taught them this. Yeah. I never heard of it. But what I do, and what they're Dogon saying that they came and they passed the star system, it makes sense when you, after I think about explosion out of space. It wasn't in Earth where the explosion started, out there, and the particles are coming down into Earth. I mean, see how it makes sense, especially on as far as us, the explosion. Then others would say it was a planned explosion, meaning this was they was through an explosion. You get what I'm saying? Because what he was saying that Malachi teaches that they came to Sirius B and then something. So like, how did they send us here? They might have sent us here coming outside of the Earth into the Earth is technically alien. I mean, that sphere is considered alien. So if you say we come from aliens, then technically that's true. All this, if I really sit down and look at it all and analyze it all, it really all will make sense. And I think that we just, for someone ashamed to say that we're mammals. If I ask you, Eric, you a mammal, you ain't got no problem saying you a mammal. You ain't got no problem with mammals. Don't sound like it's a derogatory term. So yeah, I'm a mammal. You say, Eric, you know what I'm saying? I'm a mammal, no problem. But if you say that you come through evolution, because they have taught us to make us think that evolution is a bad thing, and even when you deal with white people, I have my own school of thought, but my school of thought is that white people come from the Guamaldi. So I know about Yakub, the Yakub story. Something going on, y'all. I heard about the Yakub story. Then, Canoon, even Canoon on the pilot, where man was. But when you talk about the Guamaldi bones, they say that's the oldest bones of that went into Europe, into the Ice Age.
They came to Europe. You can go to the Museum of Natural History in New York on Fifth Avenue, and they were the ones who got caught up in the Ice Age. That eventually, one theory is that this is where there's a book by Michael Cremo, Michael Bradley. It's called Mike talks about the Grimaldi. But like I was saying earlier, right? Those three creations, primary creation is energies existed in the form, gases. And there's 9 levels of from quarks to biots, Zell, and we refer to them as, subatomic particles before weight or the sum of any weight, registering as nothingness. We call that a state of nothingness. So it had to be a state of nothingness created first before you could put something in it. It's secondary or evolutionary creation, right? The evolving of the existence from a density to matter, to atoms, to cells, to organisms, to bodies, and then there's, we call Tartanian or what you might call gastro creation. So there's different types of creation, but we have to begin to put these things together and have make the studies chematology. Then they would have to tell you, they would have to admit that at one time the Dogons was a priest tribe in Kemet. And and when they came into Mali, right, their story is that they came from beyond the stars. So anything that's not from this earth is alien by definition. It's alien. So and we know that our pharaohs, right, they understood. Otherwise, they wouldn't have had the king's chamber pointing out in that direction. And that's where they buried the king, knowing that his spirit would go back to Orion, and the female that was Septu, right, and that was the brightest star in heaven, right. So they knew that they were trying to go back to that which they came from, and something 19 galaxies. You understand? But we all know that, and stargazers. Why were they looking at the stars? Were they waiting for other people to come out of the stars, coming back, or were they waiting for spirit beings? Why? There was something fascinating them that they paid attention to, what we call the precession of the equinoxes. Other galaxies, other star constellations, Polaris, Andromeda, Dracos, these star constellations. Why were we so fixed on the star constellation? Something, about that related to us as spirit. And I think the brother mentioned it earlier. He talked about solar biology, logical sciences. I think the brother mentioned that earlier. But yeah, there's that connection. We just have to be able to understand that everything that's in us is up there. We call the 7 principles or the axioms of Tahuti. He say the second is the law of correspondence. As above, so below. As above, we can easily see how that maps out. What's that?
Go ahead. You want to finish saying something, Elder?
No, I'm good, brother.
Okay. Yeah, and also I wanted to also wanted the family to research Credo Mutwa. I don't know if you
that's the brother that I'm talking about.
Yeah, the great elder.
Yeah. So Credo Mutwa has paid homage to our master's teacher, Dr. Malachi of York. I could send the family a picture of him. He has also corroborated the historical tradition and oral tradition of many tribes in Africa, including the Zulu, right, and certain Sans people of South Africa who have retained the story of the dolphin. It's something that just Malachi York to you. I want y'all to research. Just YouTube. Just type in Credo Mutwa dolphins, and I guarantee you will find that video where Credo Mutwa is explaining to you this very same story. He's telling you. He's saying that and this is why dolphins have such affinity with human beings, right? Because it's not a coincidence that dolphins have closer relationship with us human beings than most, I'll say all others, see, to the point where dolphins will naturally save a child from danger, a human child. But go ahead and look that up, Credo Mutwa, who tells that story of how they are not from here, and that we were seated in the womb of dolphins, and that we came out and we used to communicate with the dolphins. And that also the language of the French people of South Africa is a click language called Xhosa, right? This particular click language is a language that stemmed back to the very sonar type of speaking, not the very same language, because some people will say, Sabians and Nuwappians say that, French people used to speak to dolphins. That's not what we teach. Say that the language, the click language, right? That system of speech is very ancient, going back to when we used to communicate in the waters by way of sonar, right? Which is a form of clicking, right, with the larynx or the voice box, which is a form of communication we used to perform underwater. And the dolphins performed another form of this very same speech. Not the same language. We talk to the dolphins, but they also communicate by way of sonar. Yeah. So Sans people of South Africa retained this very same form of speech in their language called Xhosa. And they also will tell you historically that it's related to when they were in the seas with the dolphins. So as
also, Credo did say that I do know that he said that we were aliens, that we didn't come from here. So I'm familiar with Credo. He also made some predictions about us going to war with Iraq in the 1990s.
And really, Bobby Hemmett, Delbert Blair, Phil Valentine, a whole lot of people tell you we have to become space.
Yeah, that's
a whole lot of scholars, man. A whole lot of scholars, bro. Enoch, the book of Enoch.
You know, that's all. You know, that's all passed down, and it's good information, man. Turn it down. But y'all, it's been an opportunity to close out. You know, we had a great. Hey, who is this? Trees V. Trees V. Can you unmute the mic and say something? Do y'all know who this Trees
They
V
probably
is?
just listening and just just trying to.
But sometimes.
Speak up. Speak up.
Can you at least say who you are? So I mean, say something. Well, I don't like that. People just.
They like that eavesdropping shit.
You don't know who. You don't want to say nothing. Like, who are you? All right.
Baby, nobody.
I'm gonna give him the boot. Like, sorry.
Take it off so you can see the face.
Yeah, yeah, sorry, buddy, but you gotta say something, man. But with that, I'm gonna give everybody an opportunity to close because we have been recording our NCRBGZ Productions on YouTube.
What is that?
I don't know when, maybe 2 days from now or tomorrow. But I'm gonna give everybody an opportunity to close out. You can close out one at a time. Tell people who you are.
Yeah, I'm there. I'm in Ray. Some people call me Cam. It's all well. I invited Brother Nabat. I'm glad he showed up, and I hope he come again next time. You know, next time. Seth Ruth Stewart, Elder Remitsu. Oh, y'all. I agree with all y'all, man. You know, even the water stuff, man. Fat Nemo, all this kind of stuff. For the stage, man. You know what I'm saying? It was a stage of our truth, man. But I believe it's before the water. But yeah, we got all elements. Fire. You know, we got all the elements in us. Brother God. Woman don't take a bath. She smell like a fish, though.
There you go. There you go. No, that's real. That's real though.
That's real. And it's water. You know what I mean? So hey, you know, there's something to it, man. Everybody got a point, you know. And Brother Bot, we ain't trying to debate. You know, I'm glad you came to you and Elder Remitsu and B-Mac. You see him as B-Mac. Name is Stewart, right?
Yeah.
Seth Ruth. We need to change.
Yeah, definitely. I like that Elder. I mean, he was on the right track. I just hope we can talk more. We can exchange more, communicate. If it's all
Well, definitely. But that's all I gotta say. You know.
Yeah.
Peace.
Give
him
my number. Give him my number.
Give him. Okay. Okay, I will. I'm gonna give the number to you.
Trueborn Master, you.
Yeah, man. Everything was great. It was wonderful. It was peace. You know, we the original family of the planet Earth. I said it one time before. You know, there was a mirror. You take the mirror, you drop it. Each person picks up a different piece. You know what I mean? So always some great information. No matter what your background, whatever it is, you know, it's all unity in the end. So yeah, I appreciate you all.
Trueborn.
Yeah, peace. Yeah, that was great information. Information is, you know what I'm saying, is power through knowledge, you know what I mean? So, and if we don't understand something, you know what I'm saying, that's what we got to do. We got to try to go through this research and find out what's going on. But yeah, you know, I'm a brother helping people out building gold, you know what I'm saying? So if anybody is interested, you know what I'm saying, in building wealth, foundation history, you know what I'm saying, for their children's and children's Facebook, you know, it's Reigns Erics, and I can get you all the information about building wealth with gold and with silver. So there, and let the rest of y'all get off, and I'll see y'all on the next one.
Peace.
All right, everybody. I just want to say good night, everybody. So peace.
Peace and black power.
Throw your fists up, baby. Say black power.
Peace and black power.